Right, and roll call, item 1.1, we're gonna have roll call of the Board Insurance Committee.
We're here.
Okay, we'll make sure. Okay. And Employee-Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All righty. Okay, so the agenda, item 2.1, selection of Board Insurance Committee Chairperson.
I move that I apologize, I nominate Mary Morrison to be the Board Insurance Committee Chairperson.
I will second that.
Okay, we have Mr. Centeni at the motion and Ms. Mason as a second. So, public comment? Okay, no board comment, so it passes. All right, item 2.2, presentation. 2.2, presentations from the top 3 finalists for voluntary benefits and administrative services. Okay. Who's first? Ms. Gardner? She stepped out. Yes, presentations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trish LaBeouf. Trying to make sure it's on. I'm the Insurance and Benefits Supervisor for LPSS. We've got 3 presentations for you this evening. The first presentations will be given by Lockton AmeriLife Benefits. Please correct me if I'm saying any of this incorrectly. I've got Hub International, Dwight Andrews, and AMG Benefits. And then I have Educational Benefits Incorporated, EBI. They will be presenting to you this evening to just go over the RFP information that you received and give you some more details with regard to what they could do for voluntary benefits in the employees of LPSS. So I will turn it over to Lockton AmeriLife Benefits to give you your first presentation.
Okay, we'll get started. Can you hear me? The mic's working? We're good? Green light's on? Yep. We're good? Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank y'all for having us. We appreciate everyone's time this afternoon. As we know, you all are making, an important decision that impacts the lives of your employees and your retirees. So we're happy to be part of the process. And we were very encouraged to see, that we were a top scorer once you did the initial evaluation of the RFPs. So we want to spend some time tonight introducing our team. I'm Eugenie Guillot. I'm with Lockton Companies. I'm actually a resident of Lafayette, born and raised in New Iberia. And so now my family resides here in Lafayette. So I'm happy and excited to be working with the Lafayette school system if we can in some way impact you. With me tonight is AmeriLife Benefits. And they are a company that you may or may not be familiar with, but they're very familiar with school systems in your space. So I'll introduce some of them. We've got Jeff up first.
Good evening. Pleasure to be here. I'm Jeff Stoppel, Senior Vice President of AmeriLife Benefits. Excited to be here. Excited about our high score and hopefully some questions that you guys may have about some of our RFP responses, and look forward to telling you more. So, Kevin?
Great, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Thompson. I work with Taylor & Sons on AmeriLife Benefits. Just want to give you a little bit of background on Taylor & Sons and AmeriLife Benefits to kind of give you some framework as to our experience in working with educators across the state of Louisiana. So in 1958, Taylor & Sons opened their doors with the mission to provide benefit services to K through 12 Louisiana school systems. Here we are, close to 65 years later, and our experience is almost exclusively devoted to serving the Louisiana educators, support staff members, and all their families. We know this business, hands down. I've worked in all phases of the voluntary benefits business since 1984, and I've proudly represented Taylor & Sons for 12 years, since 2012. We're based out of Hammond, Louisiana. We currently serve 32 K-12 school systems in Louisiana. In those systems, we have more than 25,000 insured folks that are active employees and retirees. We're very, very familiar. Okay, so we're very familiar with the needs of both sets, the active and the retirees. We're longtime active supporters of the industry associations. In fact, we're charter members for LASBO, Louisiana Association of School Business Officials, Louisiana Association of School Superintendents, LAS, Louisiana Association of School Executives, LACE, and of course the Louisiana School Boards Association as well. In 2017, Taylor & Sons became a wholly owned subsidiary of AmeriLife Benefits, a division of AmeriLife Group. This partnership provides us with a wealth of resources and support that enables us to deliver outstanding customized solutions and outcomes for our clients. Keeps us at the front edge of technology and being able to bring the latest and greatest solutions to the table for our clients. The scope of work requested by the Lafayette Parish school system is in our sweet spot in terms of the type of work we perform every day for our single largest business segment, which is K through 12 education systems, not only in Louisiana, but across the country. The Lafayette Parish school system is an ideal, perfect client for us. It's a fastball down the middle for us. Many of our clients have been with us for 30 years or more. We believe our commitment to exemplary customer service and focus on building long-term, trusted relationships drives our high client retention rate. I'd like to introduce you to Becky Johnson. She's our agency director. She leads our customer service and employer engagement teams. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us to speak with you today. Kevin is correct. The scope of work requested in this RFP is exactly what AmeriLife Benefits does each and every day. As a senior account executive and agency director, my job is to ensure that we deliver what Taylor & Sons has built its reputation upon: excellent customer service and employer engagement, while fostering lifelong relationships. We have customer service, billing, and account management teams dedicated to providing the highest level of customer support. What does that mean? Active employees, retirees, very much like students in your school system. We know you process information in different manners, just like your students, whether that be handing you a benefit guide, letting you flip through it and understand the information, calling into our call center, speaking to someone on the other end of the phone, tech savvy, going through the employer portal, accessing your information there, a combination, or sitting in front of a live person and actually discussing that information and understanding. Where does that come in? I'm honored to say that I'm a former educator. My specialty, educational leadership. I take pride in leading a team that is fully prepared. We are ready to meet each day and provide the highest level of customer care to all our clients. With that background, like I said, we know you're multi-generational. Active employees and retirees have different needs. We're aware of that. We're able to assist and provide that special care
that each section needs. Segue. I was gonna say, did you have any questions on that, but I'm gonna let him speak first.
Becky. So just, to Eugenie's point, you may have not heard of AmeriLife Benefits, AmeriLife Group. Obviously, Taylor & Sons, hopefully, is a name that you've heard of with its years of experience, particularly with school districts in Louisiana. AmeriLife Benefits, we've been around for over 60 years, over 1,000 clients throughout the country, and in addition to the 32 K through 12 school systems we service here in Louisiana, we've got over 100 throughout the Midwest and the South. So to Kevin's point, you all are an ideal client. We work with your peers day in, day out. Looking at what y'all built today, it's a solid foundation. We wouldn't be here, we would have yielded our time if we didn't think we can impart some benefits, some changes, some enhancements. And we appreciate the opportunity to do that. In looking at some of the questions and answer sections, the placemat that we've put together in front of you is really built for questions as we go through this, versus kind of just me standing up here, or our team standing up here and giving you and regurgitating maybe what we put in that RFP. In the top right section, I'll just start with, those were the 3 goals that we heard back from the team that evaluated those RFPs. Excellent service. We are prepared and will dedicate 25 to 30 folks just to your school system to make sure you have service that is exceptional, that is constantly evolving, improving. A lot of our salaried counselors, they're former educators right here in the state of Louisiana, that have turned to us and said, we love what you did, we love that experience, we love that conversation, we want to go back and help other educators. And so that's something we're very, very proud to be able to say. Affordable insurance premiums, quality benefits, those go hand in hand. One of the question and answer sections, I wrote the quote. One of the first things a new hire says is, what's the salary and how much are the benefits? We all have a budget, right? And in looking at a very high level at your benefits, we think there's some room for improvement in different categories, but we want to have that discussion, that discovery conversation with you all, your team that deals with this day in, day out, to understand more in depth as to how those plans are performing today, some of the feedback that you all are getting from your employees. Before I continue on throughout kind of the rest of this, and some of the team has some additional comments, I want to yield just for a second to see if there's any questions or specific areas you'd like for us to focus on. Sure.
Can you specifically address new hire and enrollment? Those are 2 largest segments with regard to benefits, and I'd like to know how you would manage it. Give me some specifics, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'll start with open enrollment. The biggest part is the discovery phase. If we're fortunate enough to become a partner, is understanding in very detail. I mean, you guys did a wonderful job in the RFP explaining what's going on today. But how can it always be better? But in addition to that, we feel like our experience in this market is letting you know what your peers are also doing. But putting together that strategy, putting together the timeline, it's going to be very well planned out. Working on all the strategic communication, whether it's text messaging, custom websites that are mobile enabled, postcards going to homes, all the different methods, because we all learn differently. How do we reach those people so that they know that this is so important? I know that today a lot of this open enrollment is very face-to-face. That's fine. We are absolutely 100% prepared to support that. But we offer, a lot of your peers are also offering a virtual call center. That way, if a family member or a loved one wants to weigh in on those benefit decisions for the family, they've got a voice in that that's convenient at their time. So a lot of times we're doing scheduling around that. But again, those are just a couple of examples. Working through exactly what you have today, putting together the plan, putting together the dates, putting together the deliverables, transitioning to new hires. I would say, we're very flexible, but a lot of our groups have the employees go to that microsite, get educated, sign up for an appointment, receive a call from one of our counselors at that designated time of convenience for them, to walk them through all those benefits, to make sure they understand them, they accept them, they decline them, but you have something as an employer to say, I've treated all my employees the exact same, I've made sure they're educated on those plans and taken care of them from that point forward. So that's a couple of examples, but I would tell you that of the 100+ school districts we work with, we do it a little bit differently at each one, depending upon, you know your culture, you know your employees, you know the history of what's been going on today and what you want tomorrow and the future to look like. You know, and change, talk about change. It's the only constant in life, but no one likes it, right? You know, in looking at this, what I would tell you, if it makes sense, I don't know if it does. You know, looking at the scoring, it looks like, you know, you're happy with the system, you're happy with your current provider. We think we can impart some change and some impactful change, but what about administrative? What about systems? What about technology? With your current setup, it will be very simple. We've done this dozens of times where today you're using one of the most well-known systems, Solidarics. Our system is also Solidarics. We hold what's called an enterprise license, so that's our people doing all the building, all the customization. So if there's little nuances that you want changed, enhanced, our people. Alio, Link, your payroll platform. Those systems have to talk. They have to integrate. There can't be manual intervention there. We've got over 9 years of experience integrating large school districts that use that platform. So from an administrative perspective, those should be the two big things of question. That's easy. That's extremely simple from our perspective. So, great question.
Does any of that give you heartburn?
Obviously, the details are important because you're correct. Each client would be different, unique.
Yep.
LPSS has needs that perhaps another school district doesn't have, and you're correct. You'd have to figure out our culture to figure out how you would work with that. Depending on what other information you go over, I probably have some more subsequent ones because billing is also an important piece of that too, in how it pairs. We have a department, staff members who work through the billing with regard to voluntary benefits, and if that too doesn't work, then that's a huge concern of ours.
So the foundation of who we are is based around our TPA services. We've never felt that one insurance carrier can always be the best in every single category. It's next to impossible. You guys are an example of that today with the different carriers you've utilized. And so if we can't consolidate that down, have a dedicated billing representative to you and your team that can do reconciliation and auditing for whether you have 9-pay, 10-pay, 12-pay, you work with schools, we understand those different flows, and making sure that we're working through the audit and reconciliation process with you, that's what we do. That is truly the foundation. And there's folks out there that can state they do consolidated billing. We have true systems that are integrated with our Solidarics platform. It is not merging in spreadsheets, it's not human interaction, it's systems talking to systems to provide that service for you. But then it's that human being that is a dedicated billing rep to work with your team to make sure that those burdens are lived, if that makes sense. I mean, we have moved, the client, your exact same size, public sector, they were spending 30 hours a week reconciling, auditing, billing issues. They're down to an hour. That's just one of many examples, and that would be one thing I would impart. We were fortunate enough to have a lot of great references in our RFPs. My job, our job is to make this sound great. Please call them. Please ask.
Can you, if I'm remembering correct, I may be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. E-billing. Can you elaborate on that? Because that was noted within your RFP with regard to e-billing capabilities.
If you want to, so I would step back for just a second and say, during the implementation process, we're going to bring in the director of billing services, and we're going to work through what's going on today, what do you want, We may have some suggestions as to have you thought about doing it this way. We're gonna work through that and customize it to your liking. And so if you want e-billing, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But if you want list bill, we can do that. Most likely you're gonna want self-bill. We're gonna work through that. We wanna understand all your different pay modes. And so it's really gonna be a true customized experience where if you wanna go through and look at the e-billing process, we'll demo that for you. We'll set all that up. And then at the end of the day, we're not gonna put you in a box. We want to tell you all the different options, work with you as to what makes the most sense.
Candy works as a staff member within the department. She heads up the billing side of it. Can you think of anything that just pops off the page that you'd like to ask?
I think one of the questions that I would have is, you know, the fee base on the different services, the different levels of service. Whether it's a commission based or a fee based or a mixture. Like what is your average or what is your standard that you offer?
The RFP in which we responded to was no fees. And that's based off of our understanding of what's in place today is that everything that we would be providing is based off of commissions that are built in the current plans. So everything we propose from COBRA to all billing services, flex spending, I think with the exception as you have it today, if they lose a debit card, there's a charge for that, is it no cost?
I don't want to disrupt your presentation.
No, this is our
This is the
presentation. Because we felt like, number one, again, it was a well-done RFP. Felt like, hopefully the score, it was well received. And so we were really hoping to have more of a discussion than anything of going back to the RFP. So if there are other questions or more details, yes ma'am.
Could you add several related just to the RFP? First of all, could you explain the interface of all three companies? We're not accustomed to that. So if you could explain how the three companies would work together, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So I'm with Lockton Companies. We're a full-service consulting firm. We're vendor agnostic. But when projects like this come up, we will look at them and look for a good vendor to put forward. And so my discussions with AmeriLife were pretty blunt. And I said, look, this is what they're doing today. Based on the feedback, it looks like things are working okay. You know, can we bring value to this company? Can we bring value? Can we improve processes? Can we do things that would benefit Lafayette school systems? And collectively, we decided that we could. So Lockton supports AmeriLife in this project. We can do custom communications that help enhance what they offer, as well as help with the marketing.
And you are international, as I understand.
We are an international company. I used to be the market head for Aetna for Louisiana and Mississippi, and I left about 6 years ago when I started the Lockton office in Louisiana. And I'm born and raised here. My husband and I moved back to Lafayette during COVID for obvious reasons.
Something else in the RFP, I found the license for the TPA, which is, I appreciate it, is National Insurance Marketing Brokers, which is some connection to AmeriLife, as I appreciate that.
So, yes.
But your RFP said that the licenses for Lockton and Wex Health, which I think is, Wex Health is who's going to do your COBRA?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Your RFP said those licenses were included and they weren't. What was included were simply the Secretary of State documents.
So we're not a licensed TPA. AmeriLife holds that license to that business.
So that.
Nimble is our TPA.
So okay. So the statement that all the licenses were included, all you needed was the TPA license.
Yes.
Survey Monkey. One of the things I've not understood in a lot of years is you all survey right after open enrollment, right?
Typically, yes.
No one has had any experience with your claims process or with trying to call y'all the 1-800 number that's open until I think 5 o'clock. But nobody's had any experience with that. All they know is what your open enrollment interaction was. is it possible to do a similar survey later on in the process so we get feedback from?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that is the perfect feedback, getting to know you and understanding of maybe there needs to be something 6 months in. Part of it, we call it what's called claims triage, is yes, we'll be recommending A-rated insurance companies, whether they're the ones you're using today or if there's better options out there, that's to be determined. But obviously part of the reason we're making recommendations is because they're good at paying claims. But what we call claims triage is that any employee that's in a question, kind of issue, if they're coming to the HR team, we want them also coming to our office so that we can look into that claim, make sure it's being handled correctly. If it's being denied, we want to know why. We want to make sure we're not the insurance company. And so that's a very big part. I say that because we're also going to be our fingers on the pulse throughout the year, not just a survey monkey, although I think that can be a very important reason to make sure that employees have another avenue for voice.
Next question, can you explain the TransUnion thing and what that role would be?
So TransUnion is an identity, has an identity theft product. They're obviously also one of the three large credit monitoring providers. They have an option where just trying to do something unique. I don't believe you offer identity theft coverage to employees today. It's an idea. It's something we would show you. A lot of employers are making that available through payroll reduction.
A concern that someone expressed to me is it's not just your RFP, but it's also in another one. There's a great deal of information about health benefits, and the RFP is geared solely to voluntary benefits. Is there some interest in merging those two that we're not aware of?
I'd say that you're fairly unique in keeping those very separate.
Right.
Open enrollment. From your processes, if someone's meeting with a counselor, a lot of times they have questions across multiple lines, right? They have a medical question and they have questions about dental or vision. So keeping those separate, although AmeriLife can absolutely support that, it does make you a little unique. So that's something we want to tease out. Is it unique on purpose? Is this the way it's always been? Has there ever been thought about combining those efforts to streamline that process and give employees that total package? We can do either. But again, if we compare you to other schools, would you say
But
most
the
of them are
RFP was solely for voluntary benefits.
correct?
Correct. Let's see. The term life benefit, and you had several pages, but the one I saw started at $10,000. And the retirees, we voted to reduce ours to $5,000 several years ago. So you would be able to accommodate the retiree life benefit as well, correct?
Yes.
And you do not have a local office, as I understand. You do or you
We don't have a
don't?
local office, 32 districts across the state. And our customer service is top notch. So we have regular presence in the districts. If there's any situation that develops that we need to be there, we're there within an hour, hour and a half. So it has not been an issue. I would ask the question here is, how many people actually walk into the local office? Most people are using their phone, they pick up the phone, calling somebody, they're walking into HR, that's who they go to. So part of what we would look to do is instigate some change over time where the employees would understand they can go to the benefits portal and get all their answers, and call us and get all their answers. And if we need to go visit with any person, no problem whatsoever.
And presumably the sample contract you had is a negotiable contract because you had two, you wanted LPSS to do a hold harmless, you would do a hold harmless, and then you have some specific liability issues. Is that contract?
It can be redlined, it can be discussed, it is 100% negotiable, yes.
Thank you.
Great question.
I have another question along the same lines, and I'll be asking everyone this. Where are you headquartered?
Our local office here is in Hammond, Louisiana. AmeriLife Benefits is based out of Kansas City, Illinois.
Okay, where is your call center located?
We've got call center activity in Hammond, we've also got call center activity in Illinois.
Okay, and the same for the virtual call center?
Yep, exactly.
So Hammond? Thank you.
You're
are the people, the salespeople, the people that the teachers and the employees actually sit with, are they on any kind of commission, or are they more information-based? I would like to see, or I think this committee would like to see, information being exchanged, but not a motivation to upsell these employees or teachers on things. And I think I'm going to ask this question, of course, to everyone else. Is there any commission or financial motivation to those people sitting with our employees to sell them something more than perhaps they're looking for?
Our benefit counselors are there to educate educators. They are salaried employees or per diem employees to take the selling process on. Our view has always been if an employee is able to sit down in a non-threatening atmosphere, be educated, make sure they know that it's not a commission process, they can make an informed decision. Some of the plans may make sense for their families, some may not. But that's always been our belief, to have that set up, to have that standard. That's part of the reason we do the surveys after enrollment, to make sure that we're holding true to that. Will 100% of your employees have a perfect experience? No, we're human. They're human. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe one of our counselors did. But that's part of our quality assurance, is to have education, not sales, to make sure we're backing it up by giving them a voice in that survey, and addressing it as well. So, great question.
Thank you.
So was that a no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was a no.
Just making sure. Thank you.
He said support is not condition.
Yeah,
that's
what
it.
it
I tried to keep it salary, not condition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. I'd like to point to page 23 on your response on the guaranteed issue for voluntary term life insurance, accidental death. Can you explain those three columns there, up to 200,000, age 70 plus, up to 30,000 for the spouse, and up to 10,000 for the child?
I don't have that right in front of me, but beautiful.
Page 23. Technically speaking, I think it's actually page 58 of the entire 102-page document, but it says 23 at the bottom of it. I think it's in your sample booklet.
Is it the one that's 102 pages that was connected?
It's 102 pages on page 58, but it says 23 at the bottom of the actual page. If it's not,
that is a sample brochure.
Okay.
So that's just a sample.
Okay. Well, can you guide me on how so is it made up numbers, or is this was something that you had distributed under some other systems plan? Look, and I'll tell you what I'm getting at. So I'm getting at when we did this last time, guaranteed issue was a significant concern for the board, for the people who will ultimately make this decision.
Sure.
And so I want to make sure that all of this gets taken into account during this kind of open process, so that everybody has the information. So maybe if that's not, what our plan might look like, but just kind of explain to me how you've worked through that in the past.
Certainly. And we only looked at the benefits at a high level with the direction in the RFP that there would be discovery before any type of that process. I think this is an example for a group your size. I would not be surprised to see that type of guarantee issue. But specific to a term life, we would want to look at what you have in place today. If there were a change, there would be no harm loss, right? There would be a carrier that would be grandfathering people over, and that would be part of that conversation process. If there were any market analysis done, what are the pros and cons of that to make sure that no one is left behind, if you will, or left in a tough spot. Oftentimes what is happening on a term life policy for this example is everyone is grandfathered over, plus now it's open back up for all employees that may have said no historically or may have been declined historically with that new carrier offering. But those are all examples. We'd have to wait for those type of results and analysis to come back.
Question. Do y'all Yes. Do you have service any other districts, like in this area or in Louisiana? What other school districts you service currently?
Allen, West Baton Rouge, 32 total.
Over 25,000 educators in the state.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can you elaborate on that one with regard to how many of those are like size to LPSS, 4,000 or more?
I believe we got 40 company-wide that are like size, not all obviously here in the state of Louisiana, but you know, I think our largest group is up around 20,000 employees. So you guys are our sweet spot.
Very familiar and comfortable with the size.
So in Louisiana, obviously there aren't any school districts this size.
Yeah, they do.
We'll work with you. Percentage.
Okay. I'd like to ask that question.
This is your last one. I'm just kidding.
Can you elaborate with regard to, I do need a good voluntary benefits administrator that supports LPSS insurance department. We are often the first go-to. 9 times out of 10 for retirees, they feel more comfortable with us right off the bat. Active members trust us too. And they typically call us rather than calling you in those instances. So we field a lot of those voluntary benefit phone calls. But I need to know that an administrator, voluntary benefits administrator, would be supportive of our department. So tell me a little bit about your support team who would help us.
So every single group is going to have dedicated teams, and we anticipate, you know, in total, 25 to 30 folks dedicated to this business every single day, specific to you all in our team.
Who would your account team be?
Account
That's a lot
managers,
of
account
people.
coordinators, customer service folks, you have billing folks, like spending, WEX team, IT, service builders.
So narrow that down for me. Tell me who would be my go-to. How many go-tos
She wants to know who's
specifically?
She wants to know who's next she checks when she has problems.
If I were to have an issue and make a phone call, I'm looking for my executive team more or less that would address and help us through issues with voluntary benefits. I understand what you're saying with narrow it down for me. So give me a more detailed answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you would be calling the Hammond office.
Excuse me, if everyone could talk in the mic, because I think this
So
side of
that
the
would
room.
be, and then there's an account manager and an account coordinator.
Okay.
And then you have customer service and billing under that. So you're gonna have 3 go-tos
For those retirees and active members right off the bat. Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. You helped answer it. Thank
You know,
you.
there's another part to that question that you answered. Part of the process, like I mentioned in my comments, is educating the employees about the new tools that are available to them. Now, that doesn't all of a sudden switch go off and they realize that they can go to the benefits portal and call a team. So part of what we do during open enrollment, with pre-enrollment communications, post-enrollment communications, surveys, is help educate the employees so that they realize they don't necessarily have to go on first. Also, you'll be able to feed them our way as well. So that'll be all part of the process, and over time, a higher percentage of the people will know instinctively that they can go directly to us or the portal or where they need to go, and not necessarily call you first. Not going to happen right away, but what we've seen over time is that number starts to go down quick.
We do have a current process to where they call center and they do receive assistance. It's just that comfortability
That
factor.
one-on-one.
It's the trust factor where they know the 52
You can
number
pick up
when
the
they call
phone, you get that
LPSS.
person's right.
Exactly.
And it's for everything. It's for claims. We don't want you to call the carrier, we want you to call us. We'll contact the carrier and see what's happening. It's really, truly is the one-stop shop.
I think the important thing to take away from the whole conversation is that you're going to
Sorry. We can barely hear you right here.
I'm sorry. You're going to have a direct link to our executive team.
Okay.
24/7. You'll have your cell numbers, whatever you need, we're gonna be on top of it and take care of it.
I was keeping the dorky questions until the very end, okay? So, you know, one of the big concerns that I have, and I think is shared by our administrators, is the integration into the payroll system. And you've certainly said, and clearly if you're in Louisiana working with school systems, you have experience. So really this is kind of a dual question for Mr. Dugas as well as you. Do we have anything special about our implementation with Alio that would need to be taken into account? Because, you know, as I understand it, July 1st is really kind of the drop dead date for proving the integration is successful. So is there anything special about the integration that needs to happen that might put that July 1st date in jeopardy, even though they do have experience integrating with Alio? Okay.
They're going through their own transition, unfortunately, right now. So it would be Alio or Link. Have y'all connected to Alio?
I'm sure Caddo Parish is one of
Yes,
the.
we have.
Yes. So there's nothing special about our version or our implementation of Link.
It's a relational database, so
Okay.
I would think it would be.
Okay.
You know, can't say for sure.
Well, you've been through this with several vendors, right? Like, I mean, certainly the incumbent vendor went through this process.
Trish would be in charge of that, working directly, copying vendors.
Okay. All right.
And our MIS department.
Okay.
And one, just to expand, 'cause, I mean, we're talking data, right? Data from Solarix, data to the payroll system, but also if you were to make that change, your data today is in Solarix and to another Solarix. And that's extremely simple. That's part of my comment of this is the easy button if it makes sense to make a change. You know, and so we are extremely confident on the data piece of it with Link, with Solarix. It's really, I feel like, more about refining and improving the foundation that you built.
You mentioned Solarix, that means all the data that's in there to include beneficiary forms, designated beneficiary forms, or are you just talking the data, everything with regard to members within our Solarix, not our Solarix system, but within Solarix? You're telling me it's a complete transfer? There's
Download what you have today, upload what you need tomorrow. So if we're tying beneficiary forms, beneficiary data, we can show you where to pull the information, we can have those conversations, our team can work with your team, and we can help with that process. We have done that before many times.
I have a question. Tisha, you had indicated when we had a question about combining open enrollment health and voluntary, although this is just a voluntary benefits. What you said is that, you know, we were kind of like the ghost. But my question would be, how many of those systems are self-insured versus contracting their, there's a bit of a difference when you're self-insured. Been with the district for a long time and I've been on both ends of it. But I'm just curious, how many large systems do you have that you're performing those tasks with that are self-insured?
So almost all of my clients are self-insured, and for them, they can speak specific to their system. But I would say, you know, the city has combined, Lafayette is a client of mine, they have combined. And we narrowed down payroll, they have payroll, you know, 90 payroll slots, we got that down to about 10, right, and streamlined everything. So again, it's not bad to be different, but our questions to you during discovery would be, or at least to let you know, this is something that stands out to us compared to other groups your size that we see in this marketplace. So are we doing this for a reason? Is there a benefit to it? Is there benefits for employees? If there is, great, let's keep doing it. But we'll give you that and share that feedback and say, look, this is what other companies have adopted and this is what's worked and this is what hasn't worked. We want to be honest and we want to be a good partner.
I was just curious, although, again, this is a voluntary benefits RFP meeting, so I was just very curious and interested.
I would look for that feedback too from your employees. Do they like having information given at different times of the year or different meetings, or has that been confusing, or is that a benefit? And again, if it's something that works well, then obviously looking to change it. But if it can be improved upon and the feedback's, mixed, then that's something, we would count.
And we would certainly hope there's no change unless the committee of employees and retirees is involved.
I saw a meeting once where a retiree got up to the microphone and said, "We don't like change, even if it's better." And so I think that pretty much sums up what many groups think about when they're going through the process, right? If you're going to make a change, is it going to be better? And even if it's better, people are going to like it. And I think that's where we are today. We know you all are tasked with a big decision. Does it make sense? Everyone here tonight is going to check all the boxes, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't have gotten through your process. So it really comes down to, can we enhance what we're doing? Can we provide better benefits for the employees who believe so? And can we take the experience that AmeriLife has with 32 other school systems throughout the state and share some of that knowledge and wisdom with Lafayette? And that's the decision that you all are going to be tasked with. I mean, does that make sense to go through that process?
But as I appreciate any decision that we make, which is referred then to the board, insurance committee, is dealing only with voluntary benefits. We are not in any way endorsing umbrella health benefits.
And we're here to follow whatever the process is, because every group has a slightly different process. So whatever committees you have, approval processes, whether it has to go to board for approval or not, we're definitely in tune to all these things. And we're flexible, because we work with so many different groups that have all these different processes. So yeah, I would not encourage this group to throw the baby out with that and change everything.
Thank you.
I'd like to just add to that a little bit. One of the things that we found is, we talked about it earlier in terms of the enrollment process and educating the employees on what the choices are. The first choice every employee makes is their health insurance, right? So all of the voluntary benefits need to be dovetailed around the structure of the medical. So by definition, the decision process that an employee goes through in order to make the best choices for themselves and their family, it's tied to the medical relative to where are the gaps? Where do I need help? Where can I benefit my family most? Which products do I need? So that's where the conversation with the medical plan comes into play. Is it helping the employee understand their medical options, what they've got, and then help them make really good decisions on what they need from a voluntary benefit standpoint. Not everybody needs a hospital income plan. Not everybody needs an accident plan. But in many situations, they need to understand their medical plan to know the backdrop on whether or not the answer to that question is yes or no for them. So that's really the point why the medical was even brought up, is because it's part of the education process with the employees.
If you think about it too, if you're a young teacher with children and you've got young kids and play sports, you're having a couple of ER visits, they're going to break something, right? And so that's where, Kevin, that information comes in to say, as a school teacher, or maybe I'm family planning and I'm going to have a baby this year. That means I'm going to hit my deductible, probably hit my max out of pocket. Those are the types of conversations that generally that employee is having to go through when they're looking at voluntary benefits to see, do I need financial support this year because I, as a school teacher, don't have enough money in my savings account to cover the deductible or cover the max out of pocket. And again, that's where those things become interlinked. And there's been value there with other school systems to have that information. But again, if you want to keep that separate, that can absolutely be supported.
All done? Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Okay.
Initial 6 people who did the finalists, none of those people will be voting tonight. Is that correct?
That's not necessarily an accurate statement, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a follow-up here. And I don't want to know the names because then I understand that. But one of the 4 active employees, was one of them an active teacher?
No, ma'am.
I couldn't hear you.
I didn't get it clear.
Her question was, I can speak loudly. Her question was any of the active members who were on the RFP committee evaluating the RFPs, was any one of them an active teacher in the classroom? My answer was no. Any subsequent questions?
We just have one question, just in closing, and again, appreciate the time given today to explore our offer and whether or not you all need to make a change. But is anyone on the selection committee, does anyone have a hesitation right now about hiring Marilyn? Because I know our time is almost up, so we'd like to address that. If there is any hesitation that you have, we'd like to be able to answer. Hearing none.
Did you have another question? Mr. Trish. Just a follow-up to that other question. Was, and I don't want to, was there a member from our insurance committee, employee,
I think I'll defer to Ms. Gardner.
The superintendent that chose the RFP committee.
I understand that, and I'm fine with that. But was there, I mean, is there someone from our committee that served on it? That's all I want to know, yes or no.
I'm gonna stick with how we posted it as 4 actives, 1 retiree, and 1 non-LPSS employee. I just think it's fair to the 3 groups that are here. If there's somebody voting tonight that also voted on to make them a finalist, I think they should be aware of that.
Well, I think that when you vote on a committee, when you're serving on the committee, we serve as an anonymous, we don't even put your name on it.
Exactly.
So if you're roll calling today, and you're roll calling, and I say I have to abstain, then I'm singling myself out that I served on the committee. So I think that you can't do that either, because you would single that out if you would vote.
Yeah, I can vote to abstain, and I did not serve on that committee.
Right, but I also think that you scored it, it wasn't vote to come to the presentation, it was a scoring, and the 6 people who scores calculated brought to the presentation today, not just a vote to come to the presentation today.
I will say we are proud that we finished first.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no idea.
Okay, so, okay, next up we have, I'm sorry, Ms. Mason, you had a
Would you mind
question?
if we just took a couple minutes?
Okay.
Just a 2-minute break?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
2-minute break. Let's see.
All right, good evening. My name is Charlie Babineau, Chief Sales Officer
Oh, yeah.
of Dwight Andrus Insurance, now a division of Hub International Gulf South. Prior to the acquisition, I was Board of Director and Chief Sales Officer for the independent 76-year-old firm located then and now right here in Lafayette as the largest independent agency in Louisiana. I'm also a proud resident of District 3. Although Elroy's not here, I'm a proud resident of District 3. On behalf of all the employees at Dwight Andrus Insurance, Hub International, and AMG, we appreciate the opportunity to present our offering. I'd also like to thank each of you here today. For the Board Insurance Committee and Administration, thank you for your public service and commitment to our community. For the members of the Employee-Retiree Advisory Committee, your desire to be involved for the good of those you represent is admirable. A little bit of background on us. We're the 5th largest broker in the world in Hub International. We have over 15,000 employees nationwide. With AMG, Alair Group, we have another 3,500 employees. While the size of these two firms is impressive, I think it's more important for today's RFP to know that we are right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We have 2 offices with over 110 employees that live, work, and have families that go to school right here in Lafayette Parish. That's powerful. I'd like to say it again. We're right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We have 2 offices with over 110 employees that live, work, and have families that go to school right here in Lafayette Parish. When it comes to your program, we'll have 9 dedicated executives and administrative representatives that each have specific tasks and will oversee the additional 30-plus counselors that will support the Lafayette Parish school system. This evening, you'll hear from a talented team that is excited to get to work and will ultimately be responsible for the implementation and success of your voluntary benefits program. For quick intros of our team, we have someone you're very familiar with in Mr. Lynn Fontaine, who you all have trusted for years to handle your benefits. In addition, from Hub, who you're also familiar with, we have Ms. Brooke Brunet. Finally, I'd like to call up AMG's Adam Miley and John Dodge to go through the presentation in detail. They won't just tell you how we do things, they'll show you. Thank you again, and we look forward to a successful partnership.
Thanks, Tyler. All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to take a very tactical approach here. We've been blessed. Adam and I have been working together now 14 years, and voluntary benefits is all we've done when we started partnering. AGM was incorporated in 2013 with a focus of providing best-in-class in VB without being captive to a carrier. And we're very honored to be here, but also very thankful that the incumbent health broker trusted us to come and present to y'all. And our headquarters is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So we talk about those 9 service people, we're gonna list them all out. That was submitted in our RFP to know exactly who's working here. Only one of those 9 is in Dallas, Texas. The rest are right here in Louisiana. Adam Miley is the founder of AGM. I'm the other managing partner. And our focus is going to be specifically around the voluntary benefits RFP. That is why Hub brought us in, because this is how, and the focus of our main purpose of AGM is to provide a full service benefit communication enrollment firm here in the state of Louisiana. We're going to touch on the VB aspect, go over the enrollment services resources that we feel can be provided. You know, currently right now, we just finished up St. Charles Parish, Assumption Parish, as well as Iberville Parish here that have been great clients of ours for a while. And so we're going to present a tactical approach, but we know it needs to be customized to y'all. But I think it's important to have a basis of what we learned there to then encompass that of y'all's culture. I remember when we first presented at St. Charles a couple years ago, and again, we were blessed with the business there. I remember telling Darnisha over there, initially, we're not going to fully reinvent the wheel, but we're going to make it go faster. And maybe through time and learning and education and questionnaires and surveys, we might find a better way to do it. The previous presenter, absolutely right. The thought process of unifying communication, especially when we have a partnership like this, does have some value. But does that mean we do it right off the bat? No. Is it needed to do right off the bat? No. But it's open for conversation, right? So we're going to touch on the VB, we're going to touch on enrollment, and then of course the benefit administration component is crucial to making sure what's happening in the back end, right, is appropriately and responsibly being transferred, right? There's been a huge disconnect in the connection between, the education of benefits. And I think it's great that I'm seeing, as we've, now been incorporated 13 years, seeing the transition back where technology is there to organize and to make HR, the IT team, and everybody have better, more cleaner data. But it's more important than ever, especially during COVID, for us to provide many different resources for employees to be able to learn and understand their benefits. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a lot of the surveys out there, but the disconnect when you ask an employer the percentage of understanding they think their employees have, that number is very different when you ask the employees. And there's so much money, time, and effort spent by all these people in this room to not have an employee go home and be proud of the benefit package you guys put together and fund. And so I think it's very crucial that we design a custom plan to be able to market to the different type of educational levels. Gen Z is now going to be the workforce, the majority of your workforce. I think you need to accommodate that. At the same time, the retirees are very valuable and very important for us to make sure that we're providing every resource for them because the time that they invested in y'all. And there's not one way to communicate to those different generations, and it's very crucial. Like I say, we're going to start with a plan that we just recently rolled out at St. Charles and run through there, and then we'll customize it to the culture and what has worked for y'all. So I'm going to start right with the VB. The team in that voluntary benefits process. The first team, we have a tactical team, Elise Io. She's in Houma, Louisiana. She's been in the industry now 16 years, worked for only a handful of enrollment firms. That's her specialty. She oversees a team of our benefit communicators as well as our tactical enrollment. So when during open enrollment, we're talking about specifically bringing boots on the ground. Our headquarters, Baton Rouge, we have over 352 counselors nationwide. 67 of them are within an hour and a half of this building because we are founded here. Most of these individuals have worked for me for over 10 years, and Elise is that event planner, that coordinator to make sure that all 4,000 employees have that opportunity to meet with a counselor one-on-one, as well as because this was a recent ask of another school system here mid-year, if for whatever reason there's a large bundle of employees that need that on-touch support mid-year, not just during open enrollment, we can absolutely accommodate that. Second is our account management team. So this is Emily Melanson. She's from Raceland, lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Emily oversees the account management team that's there to gather all the data to build out the benefit administration we specialize in, which is also Celerix. So that team member would be your point of contact, a non-traveling salesperson that lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that you can connect with on any of the issues and problems of the implementation, but then ongoing service. Third, Caitlin Harrison, also in Baton Rouge, she oversees our marketing team. We're gonna take a look at your marketing, your data, your any type of way we are communicating through direct marketing to the employee, and we're gonna see where we can enhance that. Physical is very important, but also digitized is also crucial to touch that specific generation out there that likes information fast in the palm of their hand. So Caitlin Harrison oversees our marketing team and is there to specifically design a plan and a marketing strategy that will be able to be deployed. Again, not to change what is already being done, but we hopefully be able to provide some digital aspects that you guys might not be utilizing today. Benefit counselors. So I already mentioned the benefit counselors that we have. They are bilingual, non-commissioned, just trying to knock out some of your questions. Non-commissioned. I will tell you, we traditionally implement a bonus. I'm going to be very transparent. And the way that bonus works, and it doesn't have to be implemented, is when an individual, so we have, just like a lot of other enrollment firms, we have some customization of Celerix we do. One of that customization is an ongoing survey every time somebody enters the system. And if we get a positive review when one of our W-2 counselors gets notified in a positive way, we pay them a bonus. We don't have to do that, but I like that, right? So there is an incentive, but it's specifically based off of them submitting information to y'all. So we can, because typically you're 10 times more likely to hear bad information. You don't hear that person that had that really good experience. So it's just encouraging them, not only to do a good job, but then hopefully, asking somebody to present a good review that was good for this board to understand that last year AGM across the board in Louisiana had a 97% 4 to 5 star rating amongst the reviews that came in. And because we incentivized that, we were able to get some data, so I just wanted to share that with you. Our non-commissioned, bilingual team, think of another question I heard earlier. That team, call center is based out of Baton Rouge. So that is a full Louisiana, I think just from a culture aspect, a communication aspect, it brings some significant value to be just right up the street. And the only department that is not housed in Louisiana is the 5th department, and that is our data team. So this is the team talking with your back office and regarding integrations. Right, Adam's going to speak a little bit more about the specifics of what we can do with the integration to the payroll system. But our Dallas team was a company that specialized in Solaris, has 3 collaborations. We acquired that company, and they were ex-executives and managers at Solaris who started a special white glove experience specifically towards Solaris, and they chose us to be the company to partner with. So the previous owner of that company is Chrissy Broadway, and we brought her in as our CTO. So that Dallas team is the Dallas team at Solaris is the only team out of Louisiana. But I think what's important there is Solaris is also headquartered in Dallas. Allen, Texas is where our Allen office is. And I think it's very important that our IT team has that close relationship with that office over there. But the rest of the counselors are here locally. And then finally, client services. I know customer service was a big part of this RFP, and that call center is also based in Baton Rouge. So we have communicated with our hub partners about providing a single source call center option for employees to be able to reach out to have service on all product lines. Right? You know, does that have medical? Does that not? That would be something of discussion. Right? But to provide that single source for employees for claims, questions, coverage, potential enrollments for new hires, that whole client services team, run by Jennifer Blood, is there to assist. Okay, I wanted to run through the structure real quick. Any questions regarding AGM and our resources locally, and specifically who you will be talking with if you have any issues? Other than Brooke?
So I like that. Can you elaborate? Is basically AGM the portion, the boots on the ground?
100%.
You're the enrollers.
100%.
You're going to be in contact with the employees. Am I thinking that through correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's right.
Tell me about your cost center. Can you give me more in-depth information with regard to about how many staff members, how many members you have within that call center?
That call center is 12.
Is it dedicated specifically to LPSS, or is it for all of the entities that you support?
No, that's a good question. So during open enrollment, traditionally, most of our cases, especially school systems, or also private sector, has our call center available. I noticed in your RFP that it was a little different. It was more one-on-one. So during that time of that mass volume, we'll run about 50,000 people through our call center. We do have a team that is issued 2 to 3 cases. With y'all specifically being different and being a new hire team, that team member, there will be, I would say 5, we'll figure out the number, that is there to be able to assist the employees that specifically are working with you guys.
We have a large influx of new hires at the beginning of the year. We have a good,
750 was the
on
number?
average, is about a
Yeah.
700 plus turnover rate per year. If people coming in, either retiring, resigning, terminating. And then we can onboard just as many at the new school year. So you'll have a lot of employees asking those same questions repeatedly. And I was just wondering the support that your team would be able to offer in those instances in particular. And then right after that, it rolls directly to open enrollment, which is another large influx, which would be one-on-one.
100%. So to support what Charlie mentioned, the team that we're thinking that's just our seasonal team members, non-commissioned, seasonal team members is the 30. So that 12 are the ones that are W-2'd, been with AGM all over 5 years, full-time, that are manning the call center. During any large influxes, we absolutely have the staff to ramp that up and planning to do that just like we do with the other school districts. And also, we do have a large private sector that is, our average case runs, I think we put in the RFP 1,000, that's constantly going up. Our specialty is from 1,000 to 10,000. Our largest client's 120,000. I think it's at 100 in there, but that is larger than that. And so for specific cases, we do ramp up and bring in an additional team to support it. But just to be very direct, you're asking who's in that office right now. There's 12 individuals. All right.
I'd ask you the same question as the previous one. You mentioned W-2 clients and that they do have a bonus, but the bonus is strictly for the results on the poll. So just state officially that nobody that is talking to any employee in the school system is on some commission in which what they sell or the amount they sell affects their compensation whatsoever.
Absolutely not. They're paid $30 an hour. And we track it through a system internally. And so to give them options of overtime. That's it. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask the same question I asked the other group. Is how many other schools in, say, Louisiana, besides Lafayette, that you service?
So St. Charles, Assumption, Iberville are the 3 schools that in Louisiana that AGM services. Our company, our mothership now, because we were acquired, we moved to a national enrollment firm presence, and I was blessed to be acquired by a national entity. And so nationally, we are being utilized in other states. But that acquisition took place a year ago, so that's moving. And then, of course, Hub has some additional resources. The ones that I'm, proud of, but also would be honestly happier if they were here telling you how we've done over there, because I think that's the best thing is our reputation. And so I really hope you guys have the time, if you can, to reach out to them to talk about the transition of us coming in place. But I'm not missing one, am I? No. Assumption, Iberville, and St. Charles.
Okay. And how many years of experience that y'all have been in existence as a company?
2013 is when AGM was incorporated. 2009 is when we started working in the space in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, specializing in VB.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Have y'all worked out successfully the bridge for that data and explain that? It helps Patrish on how that went with all the LD.
I'd love to pass it. So Adam oversees operations, so I'm going to pass that one to him.
Good evening, everybody. Adam Wiley, the other managing partner of AGM. We have a little different answer. On the Alio, we're familiar with them. We work hand in hand with them on St. Charles and Iberville. We have been told countless times they cannot do a full, true integration. They cannot accept data and automate it. We have their payroll template built in Solaris in our system. And typically the process, the way it works is after open enrollment, we advise that you put a stop date on all your current payroll deductions. If you're a 1/1, put 12/31 end date. And we're going to provide a full file with all payroll deductions in their layouts import into the system. So that's a simple process. Ongoing though, so typically we've integrated with dozens of payroll platforms, all the major ones on the market. They told us they can't do that. So typically we provide a change report that's automatically emailed directly to somebody in the HR team that adds changes and deletes, and that's entered into Alio. If something's changed with their software since 2 months ago, when we just finished St. Charles Parish's enrollment, then that's music to my ears because we prefer the integration. And typically the way that works is all data from the payroll system is sent to an SFTP site that picks it up, drops it into the Solaris, and all benefit deductions are fed back to Alio with their current payroll start date. So if it's a new hire and they're effective 5/1, it'll hit them that first payroll start date. That's the way we prefer to do it. We've just been told they don't have the ability to do that currently.
Was that transition in Link or was it in Alio?
Alio.
So Link is not based in Java. That's a huge change. So I don't know if that makes a difference. But they're in the middle of that implementation as we speak.
Well, Solaris can provide files in 7 different formats: HTML, text, spreadsheet, EDI, A34, API. So if they can accept any of those file formats, which I'm sure it can, then we can integrate it with them. That's one of the reasons all of us use Solaris is the customization on the reporting and being able to integrate with many different platforms that accept a wide variety of file types.
TPA?
So AGM is not a licensed TPA. We're an enrollment firm. We don't need an insurance license to provide communication technology services. All of the TPA services are included in the RFP at no cost. With our partners through Hub, we've shot those out and come back to you guys with the vendor that can work with our software. But none of us are licensed TPA, but it's included in the package deal with our services.
So you don't know at this time who your TPA will be?
Brooke, do you want to share kind of the RFP process on the TPA services?
Hey, good afternoon. So Lynn and I know you guys are familiar with us. We, as Hub, represent multiple carriers, and we handle the marketing for all those different lines of coverage. And then we will work with AGM to make sure that that particular carrier is integrated within their system. So we do the marketing for all the different lines of coverage.
They will market the worksite coverages, obviously, but things like the life insurance, dental, and all, we oversee that market. When you ask who the third-party administrator is, the administration of FSA and COBRA and all, we will provide vendors to them, national vendors.
So am I picking this through correctly? That was essentially the contract about?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. The COBRA and flexible spending administration services, we have national partnerships with several different vendors who go to the market and negotiate with them and bring it to them.
So the previous presentation was doing the same thing with COBRA, but they have the name. And so I guess I find it curious that we don't have a TPA in this presentation.
It's not a third-party administrator necessary for that particular process. You know,
Well,
some folks might
Trish's
provide
question, so the last presenter, I don't think it
flexible
is.
spending services in-house. We prefer to outsource that with national vendors and strong contracts, especially when you're talking about COBRA. You know, that national firm with a good contract is where we want to be with that.
And does AGM, or guys, does AGM then act as an intermediary? Like, we're not having to reach out to those TPA, those third-party administrators of those benefits. We're working with your enrollers, your customer service, your people,
Yes.
regardless of the product, right?
Correct. No different than currently you use a number of different insurance companies to provide these services and whatnot. For the services of COBRA and flexible administration, we're going to go to a number of them. We're going to compare them, negotiate, and bring you the best deal.
And you've worked with these companies before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Obviously, we're providing COBRA and flexible management services to numerous clients globally all over the state.
And you're comfortable with their services, obviously.
Absolutely, we're familiar with each and every one of them. We would not bring a vendor to the table that could missing one.
Thank you. Mrs. Intended?
Mr. Miley, I want to go back to your integration. Is that, did I understand correctly that there would be an employee on our end, excuse me, responsible for receiving a file that is generated out of Celerix and doing something, some manual process involved with getting the payroll deductions into our payroll system?
If this new link has the ability to integrate, then no, absolutely not. We would prefer to integrate. We've been told by Alio numerous times with Iverdale and St. Charles that they can't handle the integration.
Okay.
But if this new link, I'm not familiar with it, can handle that, then we would absolutely integrate. It's where there's no manual integration.
What are we on right now?
We're on Alio, we're trying to transition to Link, but in the beta testing, we had some issues, so we haven't.
So on July 1st, we're going to be on Alio.
Probably.
Yes, this is probably it.
You do this every day.
If you're not off by now, you're going to be there on July 1st. Okay, so on July 1st, basically, this is what I'm talking about. There will be a file emailed to someone and they will be responsible for doing something with that file to get the information into the payroll
If you're
system.
still on Alio, the initial open enrollment will be imported. So that process is there's nothing manually being keyed.
No, I'm not talking about manually getting keyed. I'm talking about somebody like clicking a mouse and downloading a file out of email. That's manual to me. I'm not talking about data entry.
Only if you're still on Alio. If you're not on Alio, if you're on LinkedIn, no. It's going to be picked up on SFTP server. That will drop it automatically into the payroll system.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Same thing we do now. Same thing we do.
So that was the second question. Thank you for reminding me. Like, that's what we do today, is we receive a file, we do something with the file. Okay.
That's the only option currently with that payroll system. Yeah.
We haven't gotten any word that Link's gonna be any different than it is than what we're working with right now. So that would be my response.
You say on page 7 of your RFP that your benefit structure, APMs, is fundamentally different than your competitors. Can you tell us how that is?
The way we approach benefits or the structure of our company internally?
You just say that APM's benefit structure is fundamentally different than that of your competitors.
I think that's referring to our approach, the fact that we are not captive to any carrier.
And a lot of our carriers have some specific carriers that they work with. They say they're not captive, but their block is 70 to 80% with a specific group of carriers, where our goal would be to take it to market to at least best in class of Louisiana, because that's not the same. We're also doing quite a bit of work in different parts of the country, and the carriers that are best in class in Louisiana are not best in class in the Pacific Northwest, where I'm doing a decent amount of work. So we would go to our carriers here. Another reference I would love to put is I would say that the local representation of the worksite carriers, say that there's a solid 8 to 10 here that have a great reputation. I think they would have a great response to them working with AGM, and our goal would be to take it to what I would say 8 to 10. We'd shop it against your current. You guys do offer quite a number of different carriers, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. At the same point, I think it would be good to have a pretty large review. I think the last time you guys moved worksite, it could be incorrect, was 2019. And I can tell you in the course of those 3 to 4 years, there's been a lot of movement. When we did make that move recently with some of those other school systems, specifically, not meaning to bring up St. Charles so much, but we just went through it with them, so it's in the back of my head right now. There were some benefits that we were able in worksite from when we took it over that got close to a 20% reduction for the employees, but the benefits were stronger. I'm not promising that now. I'm just saying that's what happened. And if you spoke to them, they would tell you that it made my job really easy to present a product line, but they decided to streamline it with one carrier. And what that does is that gives you leverage. That doesn't mean that that's the course of action to go with, but that's definitely something to consider, is consolidating it with specific fewer carriers than you currently have in our proposal to leverage that to get better rates and better benefits. That's definitely one way to do it.
I don't, but I think it's extremely important.
Sure.
And your section on data security was very impressive.
Thank you.
If I could just interject and go back to that last question. So the current provider does shop each one of the benefits every single year. They have a conversation with LPSS Insurance, and we do make a review. We did make changes to dental, correct me if I'm wrong, 2021, and we also, no, I apologize. Dental was 2022 to where we went back to market. We went through US Able Life Insurance in 2021. So I just wanted to make a note.
No, that's great to know.
Ms. Mason? Thank you. I feel like you've already made this pretty clear, but I was going to ask my same questions.
Where are you headquartered?
Baton Rouge.
Okay. And where is the call center located?
Baton Rouge.
Okay. And they're
Unless
different.
we bring in some contract members for some of those large cases I mentioned. I've used a team up in Philadelphia to facilitate that. That's strictly based off time zone and access to a very large network of people. But
Right.
Baton Rouge is the core of our team. Yeah.
Right, and then, but also with your different entities, your first presenter, Charlie Babineau with Dwight Andrus, they are in Lafayette?
They are. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. There. Oh, come on.
Mr. Centeni?
Yeah, this is good.
My question is apropos of not any particular part of your response, so it can wait until the end. You sounded like you had something else that you wanted to touch on.
No, bring it.
All
Got
right.
some bells and whistles to show, but this is way more important.
All right, help me understand, please. What is the structure or the relationship of the companies involved? So AGM, you obviously are the broker of record for our voluntary bid.
That's
okay.
correct.
So what is Hub International's role, and who do we interface with? I'm not quite following what the structure of the response is.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Len. Obviously, he was the one that brought us in.
So AMG obviously is going to provide all of the worksite enrollment products, all of that type thing, manage technology. It's our job to oversee them, make sure they adhere to all of their timelines. The coverages of life, dental, vision that aren't necessarily considered worksite coverages, we'll assist in the marketing and head up the marketing on that. I've got over 40 years experience of marketing those coverages for several large groups, school boards included. When it comes to providing the COBRA and the Flex, that will also take care of. And like I said before, those lines of service, because they're not really coverage, we vet several different national vendors on that and present you a spreadsheet of the finalists and make some recommendations, just like we do with all of the other coverages that we serve for you. No different than reinsurance marketing on your health plan.
All right, thank you.
Benefits with health benefits. That's never been discussed with this committee, to my knowledge. Is that something you're supporting?
It depends on the culture of the group, depends on what's going on, but it sure does make sense in a lot of cases. And that, if you're trying to decide upon a certain benefit, your employees are very educated to your benefits. We know that. And Trish's department's done an excellent job of that. But if we can streamline the process, cut their workload, bring in some efficiencies, at the same time, there's some likeness there that, obviously in representing your health plan, we can communicate real well with the benefits with the worksite folks. And when you're communicating all of that in one setting, there are some gains in efficiency there. That you have to have the conversations, and all of that is in the discovery of when you're talking about what's going on right now and basically how to make it better. So I wouldn't have no problem with discussing, with enrollers discussing health insurance if you wanted to streamline that. But if you want to keep that process, separate, we have no problem with that either. But it makes good sense in a lot of cases.
Are here to talk about voluntary benefits, and the top two proposers are talking about health insurance, which the committee's never discussed. And additionally, and I want to apologize to the presenters. The reason you're not getting more questions from this committee is that we didn't get your proposals until yesterday afternoon to read about 400 pages.
Late yesterday.
And we requested them, we didn't get them. So you're not getting a lot of questions. It's not that people aren't interested. We're all interested or we wouldn't be here. But my apologies that you're not getting more questions. It's not because of the presentation.
So if I could speak on that real quick, the reason why I take direction from administration. The information was sent out based on direction and when I was allowed to send it out. So if I could just answer that question. The second one with regard to group health insurance, I think it's unfair to even have that discussion because the other proposers didn't even have that as an option within the RFP because it's voluntary benefits and administrative services. So I don't even think it should be a topic of discussion.
It's in both their responses.
Right, no, I agree. When I saw those pieces, well, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember it in Lockton's. I think it was just a topic of conversation when she was at the mic, if I'm saying that
No,
correct.
it's in their response.
We're a little confused by that statement because, I mean, the RFP was very clear that this was only for voluntary benefits, TPA services to do billing reconciliation, claim, call center, enrollers on site, and that's how we responded. Now, in the benefit examples, there may be mentions of medical and stuff, but that's because most companies do combine all those things. So I think that's where we might have gotten a little off track. Those are sample communication pieces. There's no insistence here that you need to combine those two things. But it is fair to say that most companies combine those two things together. And there may be something you want to vet out later, but I don't think this is the right forum for that.
If I'm saying this correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong. It was not anywhere within your RFP other than your example of your benefit booklet, to which it's also in our current benefit provider, voluntary benefit provider booklet. Just as a resource, there's no premium information, it's just general benefit information. The current voluntary benefits provider knows that they are not to answer questions with regard to group health insurance. That's specific to LPSS Insurance Department, to which the addendum that went out with regard to any of the questions, there was a specific question that asked that exact same thing. Are you looking to expand on your options of possibly consolidating and offering your employees a one-stop shop type of deal where they can discuss voluntary benefits and health insurance? And that answer was very specific. It was no. We neither asked for it, nor are we wanting it at this point in time. The current way that we do it is this way, and it was described. LPSS Insurance manages it. Employees are familiar with going directly to staff and in central office, and voluntary benefits go directly to the TPA. So if I'm saying this correct, and then it was just a discussion at the mic with regard to group health insurance, but Lockton, if I'm saying this right, did not put anything in their RFP with regard to it. Now there was information in Hub's and Dwight Andrews, and just a reference to a one-stop shop is the only other reference that I can determine just on those two trying to answer that question.
I think there are probably 4 or 5.
In the essence of time, can we get back to the
Yes, I was
presentation?
getting ready to say that. I didn't want to be rude, but we need to get back on track. We'll let group 2 complete their presentation and we'll move forward.
Awesome. To quickly answer that, we can go either way. Okay, so I'm going to move quite fast, but there's some things that I want you guys to understand from just a resource aspect. I mentioned earlier, Caitlin Harrison oversees our marketing team that will reevaluate all the communication that's done. Again, no reason to reinvent the wheel if it is good and solid, but if there's resources, funding from physical aspects of communicate to employee, also digitized, our team handles that at no cost. Wanted to show you guys a quick little understanding of the text message campaigns, email campaigns, a mobile application that we've actually already have pre-funded that we would like to present, something that AGM actually owns that is integrated with Celerix to show you guys how a mobile application can enhance that experience of employees in a one-stop shop, right? When you have information, sometimes you go to your phone before you even have finished the thought of what I'm actually looking for, right? So providing some enhanced technology around that. Voicemail communication is one additional aspect, and then we have presented and implemented in some rural areas. I don't know if it's as needed here, but actually social media campaigns, targeting individuals through their social media to present information around benefit communication, just to again connect with all the different individuals' education levels. So this is an example real quick of an experience of an employee, one of our clients. So we're able to deploy, and I think you all internally have a text message communication that is available. We can enhance that and present a text message resource internally that is white label communicated to the employee base that can have individual uploads, three type of direct information. So video productions, presenting an overview of the enrollment. Sometimes we've had superintendents have some type of voice overlay, presenting and getting individuals excited about what's new this year. Being able to implement a scheduling tool. I know currently that is not how it's done, and that is totally okay. But that tool is available for employees if there is an opportunity in the future. We don't have to reinvent that. We know that very well, and that can be incorporated within the system. It does allow us to present reminders, communication to employees at specific times where they need to be and track it for transparency purposes. But that communication tool via text message and email can be quite effective in organizing a 4,000 open enrollment that takes over a course of 2 months, right? Us being able to put the boots on the ground, I know is very important during open enrollment. We have zero issue staffing that. And any support that's needed, we have zero issue staffing that. Due to our resources here in Louisiana, we can again accommodate not just the staffing of individuals. I don't know if there's any needs. I don't think there was something in the RFP, but I'll mention it. Bilingual or multi-language individuals, we're able to staff that. And of course, we will present the option of a follow-up call center, but if that's not how you guys want to do it, it's right there. There's somebody who maybe sat with a counselor, had a great experience, and then went back, talked to their spouse, and had buyer's remorse. Instead of that having to come back and sit with a counselor on their off break, and that maybe involves somebody covering for them, the fact that they can just take up the phone and call, there's value there. And so that would be available at no cost. And of course, through AGM Enroll, which is Solarix, employees would have the opportunity to self-service. And when that is open and how that's rolled out specifically, I know new hires as that was indicated, that will not be a problem at all. All right, I've actually mentioned all the claim support, education and benefits, the bilingual aspect. A lot of really good questions already came through on the technology piece. Is there anything else you want to support on Solarix before we get into the app?
Just a little bit about billing. So we use the Solarix system for billing, rather than having the carriers provide a list bill and then you try to reconcile it or match it up to your payroll deductions. We think it makes sense to the same system that collects all of your enrollments, sends those enrollments to the carrier, sends the payroll deductions to the payroll vendor, does the billing. It cuts down on a lot of the reconciliation. And at the end of the month, we ask for a payroll deduction register for what you deducted for that month. And then we'll audit it against the self-bill that we provide to show you the discrepancies that happened that month. If anybody was out, anybody was on leave, PTO, etc., so you can keep up with any discrepancies. We can also consolidate the bill, so we can break it down by carrier. That's the way you guys like it. We can also provide a combined bill. We put everything on one invoice for all carriers. One of the new things that a lot of groups are doing is self-administered billing. So basically, in the past, if you don't pay exactly to the penny for what the carrier bills, they're going to come back and say, here's a billing discrepancy. This person was $15.12, you paid $15.10. Now, a lot of carriers are treating these supplemental benefits like the true group benefits. So a lot of them will give you a 15% discrepancy. Not all of them, so we'll have to do that to make sure it's a carrier that competes with what you have today. But ultimately, it allows for less billing back and forth issues with and if it's over that 15% discrepancy, that's at that point when there's an audit between the payroll system, the benefit system, and what they have in place. So all of the billing is done in the Solarix system. The Solarix system does give your employees the option to enroll online. It doesn't, you guys don't have to utilize that, but it does have that capability. I know it's being used for new hires that way, and we can continue to use it that way. We already talked about the payroll integration with Alio, but I do think all three of these vendors use the same platform in the building today. So whether you stay put, or if we're lucky enough to win the business, I do think that will help transition where your HR team, your administrative team doesn't learn a brand new system. A little bit about us, we've used it for a decade, used it for 10 years. Our Chief Technology Officer, Christy, used it for 12 years prior to her joining our team. It's the system that she's known for the last 20 years. So we do feel like our team is well versed to manage all your benefits on this platform. And then last, we have a proprietary mobile benefits app that we've developed. Took 2 years building it. We launched it last year. This is an option. It's not something we have to put in place, but it's definitely something available to you guys. And I'm going to show you a quick little video, 45 seconds, on how the app works. It's a marketing video, so you're going to see some stuff about medical insurance and stuff on here. We can take all of that out if we don't include the medical, but I want to show you how it works real quick.
Discover Benefits Vault. The new way employees access their employee benefits. No matter what your benefits enrollment strategy is, Benefits Vault makes it easy. Employers are able to fully customize Benefits Vault to fit their company's unique brand and send task notification reminders. Employees can enroll in their benefits directly through the app.
Or schedule an appointment to speak to an educated benefits counselor. View all benefits documents through the Benefits Center, such as benefit guides, plan summaries, provider contact information, and more. Employees can upload a photo of their physical benefit cards for convenient access at any time. Employees can speak directly to a doctor through telemedicine to diagnose common illnesses and get prescriptions. Find helpful resources such as Find a Provider, prescription discounts, and healthcare cost estimator. Stay informed on your employee benefits through the Messages feature. Receive important updates from your employer or contact our support staff on any benefits questions. Everything you need to know about your benefits in the palm of your hand. Get started with Benefits Vault today.
I would think he'd use it for both.
Yep. So really, it's a single app, right? Where anything you guys want us to put on, we can put everything in those topic numbers, or we can just put the voluntary. But everything they need to know about their benefits is on the app. So all of the plan docs, it gives them the ability to schedule an appointment through the app to enroll. In addition to the text messages we do with emails and postcards, we can communicate messages, notifications through the app as well, notifying them of open enrollment. We'll have, for new hires, we'll have an instruction sheet, how to download the app, QR codes, which takes them to the App Store. When they log in, it tells them how many days they have to enroll. So we'll get your new hire eligibility period. We program all that into the app. There's a countdown ticker on it. It's pretty cool. It lets them know how long they have to enroll. So it's basically just an extra value add, in addition to the Solaric system, which is the way we have this built because it's our app. It integrates with the Solaric system through single sign-on. So what that means basically is when they download the app, they log in, they can also enroll directly into the Solaric system, into their benefits without having to log in again. So it's just one place, one app that has everything they need to know about their benefits year-round. But we communicate different ways. So if employees don't open the app, they're still getting the text messages, the email. We still have a call center year-round that they can talk to people. We still are hitting on the different ways to make sure everybody's informed.
LPSS is a primary communicator. I would assume that would be easy to do if we give communications, then you could push it through.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
thinking that through correctly.
It would all really come from you because we want you guys to approve the verbiage and how it goes out. We have suggestions, but yeah, if you guys want to send us what to send out, we would push that out.
Can I ask a follow-up on that from
Sure.
Ms. LaBeouf? So is that something she can handle through your administrator site, or is there someone on your team that has to be involved for her to communicate with our beneficiaries?
As far as sending the messages,
Yeah.
we would actually be the one sending the message. She would just in an email or a phone call tell us exactly how she wants it to be laid out, and then we would push it out. She would have to log in and do the admin work.
Is that an option where she can log in and do the admin work?
Was the question giving freedom?
Yes. We can set you
The question is, can Ms. LaBeouf communicate with our plan members anytime she likes, or does she have to go through you? That's really
if
the
you want
question.
to have an admin login to screw up yourself, that's definitely, none of our clients have done it, but that's definitely something you could do. Yeah.
Did I ask the question correctly? I could see it on your face.
Good question.
One question. We have a large retiree population.
And so, do you still use paper mail and direct phone calls and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so they'll have access to our call center year-round as well. Our team will be well-versed in their benefits as well. Postcards, mailers will be sent out to keep them informed. All of their benefits will be built out on the Solaire system as well. All of their elections will be sent on the file feeds to the carriers as well to keep them up to date. So yes, full service, all of our large school districts completely manage their retiree population as well.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions? Are you guys done? Okay. Seeing no questions,
Thank you all so much.
thank
Yeah,
you.
appreciate
Thank
the
you.
time.
Okay, that brings us to group number 3. Absolutely not. Yes, you can.
Oh, the shoe's on the other foot.
5 minutes, guys. So 5-minute break, okay? Educational Benefits Incorporated, EB.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is John Starling. I'm the president of Educational Benefits. I'm also the owner of Educational Benefits. First thing I wanted to do was introduce the team that allows this to work. We are your incumbent broker. We have been your broker since 2018. Technically, we didn't become the broker until January 1 of 2019, but we began the build out of the Ben admin system in October and enrolled in November of 2018. So I'll let you start on the end if you would, Skip.
Thank you, John. My name is Skip Kovac, born and raised in Opelousas, Louisiana. 38 years in the voluntary employee benefits space of the insurance industry. Married to a first grade retired public school teacher. And really, in my career, I got to see many different facets of how this business worked. And when I looked at the platform that EBI offered, and I looked at the commitment, and I looked at the people that built that organization, I was a little bit intrigued. So I was invited to join their organization when this all started back in 2018. And I think it's only fair. I feel that I owe it to the board members that are here. I feel that I owe it to the committee members that are here, is to kind of give you, without taking up too much time, give you a little snapshot of what's happened in those 5 years. The 18 enrollment was an experience. It was something like I'd never experienced. Such a welcoming group of folks in the schools, the principals, the people in the front office that welcome you there when you go do your setup work. And it went great. That was for January 1, 19 effective date. That was year one. Year two, we built on that. Fall of 19, we built on that. It got even better. And then a little something happened. Something called COVID appeared. And we were all concerned is, how is that going to test our systems? How is that going to test our manpower and our lady power? How is it really going to test our grit and our will? Because we'd never dealt with it before. So we couldn't go to the campuses anymore. The relationships that we had built those 2 prior years, we did not know what was going to happen with that. And to make it even worse, we got a second year of it. 2 years back to back, no interaction in the schools. But then this last year came, and we went and we visited the schools, and I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention, when I go out, I'm kind of the guy that goes and develops the relationships, and I hope I'm not out of turn here, but I met a young lady by the name of Jennifer Gardner at LJ Alamo. I met Dr. John Downs. I actually met him down in Broussard, and then followed him to J. Wallace James, and then I met an old friend, Miss Mia Lemaire, who I kind of grew up with back in some times. And we worked under all of these folks. And I'm going to leave you with this. There's one thing I can mention today that hasn't been mentioned yet. Most of the groups, all of the groups that are here can check all of the boxes. It was mentioned by one of the providers earlier. Everybody has the technology, the systems to do the job that you need. What we were able to obtain is relationships and also a track record. And that track record is shown, and Ms. Mounts made a very good point earlier about surveys. And you take a survey right after you enroll. And that might not be that meaningful, but when you do it 5 years in a row, and those surveys from the employees in the schools are consistently at that 99+ percentile, and then there was feedback that came in from the administration building in this RFP, very pointed questions about the current broker, and those scores on a 1 to 10 in all cases were 10. No issues with the current broker. That's a result of a lot of hard work, not only on this team, but the folks in the schools, the principals, the people in the front office, to give us the cooperation that we need to make this work. So my job is to tell you thank you. Thank you for employing us. We hope we've done the job that you expected us to do. And when we came before you 5 years ago, EBI did not have one single public school district in the state of Louisiana. We have 12 now. And it's a growing business here in this state, and it's because of the platform and the people that they have. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm probably the youngest person in the company. My name is Kenny Pete. I'm from Lafayette. I live here. My wife is Cindy Balsa, graduate of Lafayette High. I originally grew up in Opelousas, but I came down to Lafayette and stole her from all the other guys here. We've been married 39 years. She's a teacher of 33 years and just retired, and yes, she does correct all the notes I leave on the counter in red ink, still to this day after 39 years. I've been doing this for 33 years as a consultant. I am a consultant. I am the person who meets with your employees. This year, because I'm from Lafayette, I spend the whole time doing LPSS, and my team comes and meets me and comes and goes and does what we have to do to get it done. Personally, last year, I looked at the numbers. I met with 1,323 of you people and enjoyed every single one of them. It was a blast. Met a lot of old friends that I didn't know was in the Lafayette Parish school system, so that was a lot of fun. What we do is unique. As a benefit consultant, just like everybody else, we are W-2'd. We are not commissioned, okay? And that lends us to do our job the way we're supposed to, which is to educate the employee on what's available to them and how it works. Being in the insurance business as long as I have, I understand that insurance is only as good as the service and the customer care behind it. And that's what we do as the consultants. We make sure that everyone understands what they're looking at, because not every product is for every person, but there are products that they do need to take care of their needs, whatever it is, financially or insurance-wise. Love working with EBI. I can't say anything bad. I wouldn't if I could. Great company, and I love doing Lafayette Parish school system, and of course I do all the other Lafayette, Louisiana school systems too, because I live in Louisiana. So I do Lincoln Parish, I do Sabine Parish with EBI. John can list them all. I can't list them all. Thank you, guys.
Good evening. I'm Scott Allison. I'm a regional executive. I've been in this industry for 19 years. I would be the person that Trish would choke if there were an issue. I've survived to this point, and I'm thankful for that. But I'm actually the direct contact and manage the team that does all the service work for your district. So I know we're limited on time. I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
I'm Kim Tidwell. I'm Vice President of EBI. I have been involved with Lafayette Parish since the inception of our contract, and they haven't run me off yet, so I think I'm doing a decent job. But I oversee sales and operations for all of our 200 plus schools. I'm exclusive to the school market as EBI is. That's all we do. And we have schools in 5 regional states in this area, and then the 12 schools in Louisiana.
Good evening. My name is David Chance. I'm the CEO of our collective companies. I have been working alongside John for just over 11 years now. I've been a part of the Lafayette Parish school system process since the inception of our contract with the school district. I think more often than not, where I find myself is working for these individuals where they have direct access to me to let me know what resources are needed for us to continue to make investments in the work that we're doing within Louisiana and the needs that are presented by the school district from a service resource, people resources, things like that. So really the feedback from the school district, from the employees in the surveys, and then our team that are boots on the ground meeting with your employees is critical for our ability to deliver and continue to deliver through the life of our current contract.
So to reflect and look at it from a historical standpoint, I think one of the things to look at is, do you have a full screen up? Is it showing up there? There it is. Perfect. So currently we represent 61,579 public school employees. We have over 200 public schools that we represent. We have 40 years experience in the public school consulting market, and we have over 160 employees in 6 different states. We focus exclusively on K through 12 schools. We do not do the health insurance. We're not interested in the health insurance. What we will do is work with a health insurance broker, if you want us to build it out in our platform, which is very simple for us to do. Educating our employees on the health insurance itself would be a whole nother gamut that we would have to go down. But my point to this is, We are not here to talk about the health insurance. We're here to talk about what we do exclusively at EBI, which is K through 12 voluntary benefits. And so we got in this market back in 2009. And the way we got in the market is I met with a Ben admin system, and I was put on an advisory board of a system that we don't use anymore. Because what I learned was that system told me things that they could do they really couldn't do. Just like a lot of them do. Everybody says they can do certain things, but ultimately a lot of them just kind of add that in to try to get the hook in. But ultimately what we did is we realized that when we outsourced that we didn't have anybody that we could immediately get a response to, so we insourced that. We have 25 to 28 employees that all they do is build out Celerics. That's what they do. Whether it's EDI, whether it's API, whether it's the case builds, whether it's project management, whatever it is, that's what those employees do, that entity itself. We own it 100%. We don't outsource it. I think one thing that's evident from these meetings is this is a very niche market. School districts, K through 12 school districts, are a very different animal. They use different payroll systems, some of them very, very sophisticated, some of them not very sophisticated. It's all across the board. We deal with them in every different state, everywhere. We also build out for other brokers that can't do what we do, because what we do is a very specific niche market. That's why most people have to bring in other vendors to help them do this business. I say this not to beat up on anybody, but to say that this is a very specialized market. And we have kind of figured out how to do it, because we got 200 school districts and 61,000 lives that are still with us. So that being said, a couple of things. EBI has been in business for 40 years. It was started by 2 superintendents. When we got in the school market in 2011, we got a flagship school district. It was the Pulaski County Special School District. They had 2,800 lives. There had never been a broker in the Arkansas school market. Yes, we are headquartered in Little Rock, Arkansas. Wanted to go ahead and get that out there for you. So, headquartered in Little Rock, Arkansas, we have offices in Lafayette, Ruston, Monroe, Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, Springfield, Missouri, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa. I think I've named them all. And then in Arkansas. And Fayetteville, bless you. Bless you. Bless you. So, all that being said is we got in this market because there was 2 insurance companies that were selling one single product. I heard, though, you can aggregate the products and get better pricing. There is a lot of truth to that. But the reality of it is there'd be one car dealership out there if that was the whole case. There'd be one Ford dealership and we'd all buy Fords. That's not the case. What we look at is we look at all the different carriers and we find out, number one is this: who pays their claims? Number 2, who gives us the best price? Number 3, who can support technology and the claim systems that we work with? We have a very regimented process because we didn't have that in the past. In 2010, 11, and 12, we got our teeth kicked in because we tried to write any carrier we could. And then what we figured out is most of those carriers were substandard. So what we do is we go out to the market every single year. We have over 200,000 insured lives in voluntary benefits. So what we do is we take all 200,000 lives, and we go to the carriers and we put it on a spreadsheet. And I'm jumping around, but I'm going to do this because I do get animated. We put them on a spreadsheet. Well, maybe I don't have that right. I just jumped at it. Just like this. So we put it on a spreadsheet to where we're going to let them stack up their pricing and their benefits. And then we're going to let them put their pricing on there. And they put them all down there. And then what do? We put it all on a spreadsheet and we send it back to them. And we say, sharpen your pencil up. Give us the best price. Give us guarantee issue. Guarantee issue is a huge deal. A lot of the carriers have pre-existing conditions, or they won't let you get a cancer policy if you've ever had cancer. My dad got cancer at 42, died at 49. It's very relevant to me. So all that being said, we came at this from a different angle, and we did so well that from 2011 and 2013, we got 30% market share in the state of Arkansas in the school districts. And you know what happened? EBI came to us and said, would you go ahead and buy us because we can't beat you? And we said, yes, we will. And that got us the relationship and the team of people that we need to support the customer service that we provide. Because you have to be all in on this. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to be in so that we can help people and help them get their claims paid. But all that being said, let me digress and let me jump back and get back on schedule here. And I apologize. Like I said, very animated, but I love what I do and I hope it shows. So ultimately, we took over this school district. The former broker was no longer pushed out, and they had an RFP, and I believe Taylor and Sons, I think was in the, and I don't remember the other broker that was in there. And we actually went to bid, and we got chosen on, and I signed the contract on October the 21st. October the 21st. We enrolled on November the 7th. So we built out this system, got our enrollment team together, got everybody down here and enrolled this school district in a matter of, in 3 weeks, we were ready to go and we got it. Did we make mistakes? Absolutely. Are we going to keep on making mistakes? Absolutely. But the one thing I'll promise you is this: we'll fix it, and we'll fix it fast. And that's what we do, because one thing I know is, Trish, Jennifer, anybody here, they have my cell phone number. If there is a problem, I will fix it. I will fix it personally. But that's the kind of involvement that we have to have. Look at our team. So look at our team here. Disregard the guy on the left. There's your CEO, David Chance. Skip. Skip's been in this business for all of his life. I don't want to say anything about age because I always give Skip a little bit, but he's been in this business for over 30 years. This is what he does in Louisiana. He's been in this school district for at least, that's right, mid-80s. So he knows people. He knows second, third generations of people. Kenny lives here all his life. Scott Allison, he's been on this team. He's been in the benefits business for 19 years. Look at your account management team. You know what? It's not what can we possibly do? It's what are we doing? What have we done? I think the relevance is, for 4 years, we've managed this school district. And yes, we do make mistakes, but we try to fix them as quick as we can. And the feedback that we get has been pretty good. I don't think you have to listen to me to go through that process. I think ultimately what you look at is the survey results. I know we do the survey results after open enrollment. And I know that we ought to be, we should do survey results mid-year. I'm 100% on board. It's so easy for us to do a survey result. We'll do that in a heartbeat. I would love to work with your committee to tell us more things about what y'all want. If you remember, one of the things that y'all said is we'd love to have a life insurance option. I went to Trustmark National, and I said, give me a life insurance and give me a guarantee issue for the retirees. They did. Now, the one thing about it, it was expensive. But at the same time, it was guarantee issue. Our job is to bring solutions to y'all, whatever you want us to bring. But I think if you go back to it, look at your team here. You've got him, Clark. These people touch your account all the time, weekly, if not daily. Megan Conrad. Megan Conrad's the CEO of her benefit admin companies. She has 25 people that work for her. That's all she does. Karen James. Karen has 12 people that work for her in the billing department. We do all our billing. I hope we do a great job. But ultimately, we build out the Solarics with Megan's team. We do the same thing with the uploads with it. We're subject to the same limitations that Adam was referring to earlier when it comes to the ability for them to do an API integrator or things like that. But as soon as they do, we're ready, willing, and able. We built one of the first APIs with Paylocity installations. We built the first EDI with the Mississippi Blue Cross. This is not something that we're just practicing on. This is what we do for a living. So ultimately, if I look at Sarah Bradford, her member services team, we have 21 customer service people. 21. So you look at Tina Craig. Tina Craig manages our enrollment team. We have roughly 36 to 37 enrollers, W-2, salary, not commission. We started that because our competition paid commissions, and what we saw was our bus drivers, our parapros, cafeteria workers, Those that their paychecks were most at risk were the ones that were buying the most product when they shouldn't have been. They should have been educated more properly. So I think on the employee communication side and education, I'm trying to run through this because I know y'all been here for a while, but at the same time, I think it's important. Group employee meetings. We do group employee meetings. We do the custom benefit booklets, whether it's in paper or print, or whether it's on a flip page. And yes, we can do anything in paper, anything in print. We can do anything digitally. It's however you want us to do it. We do videos. We do videos for the school to explain benefits. Some people won't read a piece of paper, but they'll watch a 20-second video. So your custom web port of 24/7 access. I think we had talked about a phone app and enrolling on your phone. We already do that. You've already got that. Email blasts, surveys, enrollment district communications. We do those, or we can give them to Trish and let her do those, or whomever in the HR department. Open enrollment announcements, videos, educational videos. Here are the benefits booklets, what we want to know. We build these in-house. We print them because a lot of people still want to reprint. And we're fine with that. You can get it digitally. But you know, employee communication, you got your touch points app where you can go and see what the benefits are if you want to on your phone or on the computer. And then the other one is we have a video. Now we were going to do the video.
Welcome to your 2022-2023 Employee Benefits Open Enrollment.
This is the open enrollment.
Open enrollment dates are September 12th through November 11th, and you can enroll by speaking with EBI benefit counselors that will be on site. We're happy to be back on campus with you. It is important to remember, this is the only time of year you can make any changes without having to show proof of a qualifying event. Even if you have declined benefits in the past, the changes you make will take effect on January 1st, 2023. Something important to know is that all rates will stay the same this year for your supplemental insurance. We also want to encourage and remind everyone to update their life insurance policy with information on beneficiaries. We are hoping to get 100% participation on this policy. Open enrollment is a great time to update your address, demographic information, or order new ID cards if you have misplaced them. If you do not participate in open enrollment, you will be enrolled in the plan that most closely matches your current policy. Previous FSA elections cannot be auto-enrolled. So please be sure to make a new election this year if you would like to keep these benefits. Welcome to your 2020.
So all of these things, the videos we do in-house. We can send our video team down here if we want to do any kind of videos that you think would be helpful to educate the employees. These are things that we found all of our schools are very receptive to that. They like the videos because it self-explains the benefits without forcing them to read it. I think one of the things is, when we look at our enrollment solutions, one-on-one. Yeah, we do one-on-one enrollments with our own W-2 benefits counselors. The same ones that enroll every year. You would not be surprised to know that many of your active employees are enrolled by the same people every single year. The stability is what we're trying to create. We want stability in service, we want stability in what your employees learn to expect, and we want stability in pricing. Because this doesn't do well with anybody's paycheck. What we want is we want to levelize this. Moving out supplemental products to move into supplemental products is really not part of our business model unless there's something that is much better. But all of the benefits that we get are custom benefits. You can't go and get those as insurance brokers. We actually build those benefits. If we have something new that comes along, we're doing the spreadsheets on all of our benefits every year. We will move those benefits, but only if it makes sense. A lot of times what we're seeing is our competitors will actually move supplemental benefits in every 2 or 3 years because they take commissions, and those commissions fall off precipitously the second and third year. What we do is we take level commissions. We take levelized commissions so that way we don't have to make a decision that's not in the best interest of the school so that we can afford to pay to be able to manage the school district like we do. We also do online self-service enrollment. It really depends on what the school district wants. And the school district wants us to do new hires, I believe we do online self-service, is that right? Good.
Yes.
And so that's what we do. But if they wanted to do one-on-one, guess who live here? We got 2 people that can enroll all of the new hires. Not to mention some people would rather call center. They don't want to sit with people. We do call center enrollments also. It depends on what the school district wants. So going back to our enrollment team, W-2, salary. To my knowledge, we started that because everybody else was based on commissions. Because if you commission somebody, if somebody makes money by selling more products and they get more commissions as a result of it, then you're going to drive more revenue to the company. The problem with that is the wrong people get sold on those benefits. And so that's what we don't do. We do annual background checks. We have a continuous program, Alzheimer's, MODIS, so that we manage and we monitor everything. These are employees in your school districts. We have to manage that. This is your enrollment team. There will probably be more added. What we know is this is a long enrollment. And what we also know is 101 is the desired enrollment in the school district, so that's what we provide. You know, I think I look at it and you look at these people, these are our employees. These are just the ones that enroll in your school district. But we like to have the same ones on the same rotation so they get to see the same people again. Now, back to the employee satisfaction survey, 2019. So if you think about it, we got selected in 2018. I signed the contract October 21st. We filled out selects and we started enrolling employees in November the 7th. This survey result is after that open enrollment. So in a 3-week time period, we had 99.95% either good or great as far as satisfaction results. The way we do it is we don't actually sit there and say, what is it? What do you think? Did I do a good job? That's not how we do it. What we do is our enrollers have a separate Chromebook that they have with them. And when they're done with their enrollment, they turn the Chromebook around and they give it to your employee. That way your employee knows that nobody gets to see what they're saying so that they will get us an honest answer. That's the way we do it. These are your different, this is the survey results. We can build these surveys in however you want. This is in 2019, 2023. So this is in 2023. So this was our 22 enrollment, 23. 99.82% excellent or good enrollment experience. At this point, I feel like we're doing a good job on the enrollment side. We can always improve. The one thing I love about an actual presentation like this is I get great ideas on things that we could actually tweak to maybe make it better. The other thing we get is actually going to meetings with our clients and listening to where there may be issues like maybe it's an HSA. Do we have a better option for HSA? Do we have an option for this? We take that back, we come up with a solution, we provide it to the school district or the client that brought it up in the first place, and then we offer it to all of our school employees. That's what we do. That's how our company works. So the carrier partners and selections, multiple carriers, you know, like we said, we write every carrier. Every carrier wants to do business with us because we do over 200 school districts. Because we have over 70,000 lives. The more lives, this is a capitated benefit. All of these benefits have limits. So when it's a capitated benefits, the more volume, the better pricing, and the better benefits. That's the way it works. So that's how we go through our product analysis. Guarantee issue, reportability. Your critical illness policy in here is a $30,000 benefit. And even if my dad worked here, came to work here, and started working here January 1st, my dad could get $30,000 in a CI benefit. And if he had a heart attack, regardless of whether he has cancer in the heart or any other condition, he gets paid. That's the way we like the benefits to work, because what I know as a recovering attorney, well, I practiced for 5 years, don't hold it against me, recovering. But all that being said is, the reason that you put limitations in contracts is so that you can deny. So what we try to do is remove those limitations so they can't deny, so that our employees get what they paid for. So, you know, I look at, we created a product, somebody mentioned, I think, identity theft. There was an existing product, I believe that was in here, Legal Shield and ID Theft. We left that in here. So I'm not going to be right for saying this, but I'm very honest. I'm not a big fan. But at the same time, it does have its place and it does serve a purpose, and for some people it's a very good benefit. But ultimately, it was because we didn't want to rock the boat. We didn't want to confuse people with all these new different products. But one of the things that we wanted to look at, and I think we brought up before, is we created a product called Protect It. We didn't create it, but what we did is we actually manipulated it to where it helped us and helped the schools. To where not only did it give you identity theft, but it also gave you social media marketing. So right now, if my son is on Instagram and he cusses, it sends me a text and lets me know that my son's cussing, or that my son is somebody who's made a threat, or somebody. So there are different products. I will say that you've got to keep up with the different products to do it, but we built this product. And would love to reintroduce it again and see if it's something that y'all would want to look at for this upcoming year. Here, technology is not my strong suit. So these are some of the carriers that we like. And then here on our customized technology solutions, I think we went through a lot of this with the other carriers, but I thought I would bring it back up. David, do you want to go through those just briefly?
Yeah, I think what tonight is reaffirmed is the decision to make the recommendation to provide Solarix in 2018 is still the right solution for Lafayette Parish School System. Based on the ability that you and your employees currently have for multiple enrollment options, be it face-to-face, self-service, call center. John mentioned earlier, we have 21 individuals that work in our call center. It is based in Little Rock, 7 of which are using VoIP phone systems that live in the state of Louisiana. Administration and billing. Billing is really the calling card that has allowed and helped really fuel a lot of our growth, is that most of the school districts that we initially engage with are struggling with a very manual process to go through the reconciliation of their monthly carrier bills. We developed a team. We use technology to streamline that. We hold carriers accountable to make sure that they're accepting premium based on a self-bill. They use our system as the system of record, all to make sure Miss Candy has what she needs to feel confident in the premium payments that are made as opposed to the deductions that are coming out of your employees' paychecks. Our payroll integration, as John mentioned earlier and Adam referenced, Alio does have its limitations as to a direct integration. We currently have a custom payroll file that we deliver to Lafayette Parish School System for upload. A little bit of a different process than was discussed earlier. We don't do a full file each year. We do an internal audit of post-enrollment activity, compare that to current deductions, and make sure we review that with the school system prior to the next plan year's payroll deductions going through. Our customer service and engagement. Obviously, a local presence is critically important to Lafayette Parish School System and truly can't be replaced. That said, your employees have proven to us that they are more than happy to engage in a variety of different mediums, be it telephone, email. We utilize text messaging campaigns. I pulled some statistics just over the last 12 months. Our team has facilitated 809 life event changes within the school system. We've had 5,143 inbound emails from LPSSonline.com email addresses. We've facilitated new hire onboarding of 738 employees, and there's been 2,340 customer service calls into our customer service call center. We feel like those numbers exemplify how embedded we are with the school district and your employees, and more importantly, that they truly understand how to get in touch for service. That relationship and that understanding of an employee who very rarely is going to engage with an insurance policy, but when they do, it's critically important. The thought of them having to relearn
who to contact just seems like a pretty daunting task when there's a process in place currently that has proven effective and is evidently being used at a high level. The single location for benefits access, like the other presenters tonight, Solarix is the centralized system for both enrollment and employees being able to go online and access what their current benefits are. The other is our online portal has a direct link to Solarix, much like was previously presented, where all of your certificates of coverage are posted. Any compliance related notices we post on behalf of the school system so that the school system can check the box that they've delivered employer notices to the employees without really having to do a lot of effort. The single platform for voluntary benefits open enrollment and ongoing administration, this speaks to both from an employee standpoint, but as well as Trish and Jennifer and the entire finance and benefits team. They have full administrative access and always have and always will to the system. We feel like it is their system. We are there to build it out and facilitate it, but there should never be a situation where they're at the mercy of getting in touch with us to be able to access an employee record. Lastly, both HIPAA and data security, notice a little typo there, is critically important. It's only getting more important. So we hold the systems that we work within accountable. I am also the chief compliance officer of our respective companies. So at the end of the day, that responsibility falls on me. I've got a team of people. I've got third-party auditors that make sure that we're doing things the right way so that we can communicate to you all that your employees' information is as safe as it possibly can be.
So the last, well, not the last thing, but one of the most important things is customer service. And it's if you have an issue, I want to have somebody that I can talk to. And I want to have somebody I can talk to about anything, whether it's dental, it's vision, it's disability, it's life, it's cancer, it's accident, it's flex, it's cover, it's whatever it is. We do everything in-house. We do everything in-house for a reason. Because ultimately, the ultimate responsibility, right here. And so if that's where the responsibility falls, well, then I want to control it. I am a control freak. Apologies, but the reality of it is this. If it is within our bailiwick, we control it and we own it, and it's accountability. And that's what we live by. We are going to make mistakes. Fix it. That's what you do. And so, that also, you go back to claims assistance. Skip, I know for a fact that you help people here in Lafayette that have specific needs that maybe a phone call wouldn't enough. Boom. Skip's going to come help them. Or if Kenny's available, Kenny's going to come help them. You got to have somebody that's really available. And that's what we have. We do that on purpose. Because I want to talk to a person, and I'm old school. I want to talk to a person in person. And having that availability is critical. And having some people that live here, that work here, that do this for a living, not PNC, not admin, they do voluntary benefits for a living. That's what's critical to me. So that's we handle the life events changes, just all of the different customer service over one single point of contact.
John, let me interrupt real quick. Those customer service representatives are all licensed insurance representatives. So any information that they're giving out would be identical to a benefit consultant speaking with them as well. So
I think
that's important.
The only other point that I want to make on this slide is the last bullet of we don't delineate between active employees and retirees. We house all retiree deductions on our system just like active employees so that we can make sure should somebody call in, a retiree doesn't feel like they are in a different situation or a different class of employees. It's one and the same for us. We knew that from the get-go that was a critically important piece that Lafayette Parish School System imposed upon us. And so I just thought it was important to call that out, that that's been the way that we've operated and will always be the way we operate.
So a couple other things that I thought would be relevant is we listen to what the district or the parish wants. And so what the parish wants in one case was we needed a solution for dental. So we went out and we got dental and we saved, we cut the rates by 5%. We got a network to get discounts so that the employees got on average a 16 to 20% discount for what they were paying. And we locked it in with the rate guarantee until 2025. Because we don't, as long as it's working and everybody's happy, we want to leave it there. But you know what? That's a unilateral contract. What that means is they are bound until 2025. We are not. If you told us that you want to be done with the dental provider and you want to go out to bid, we go right back out to bid and we can move it anytime. But they have to honor our rate guarantee. That's the same thing when you look at our disability, STD, LTD. When we took over, there was a separate STD carrier, short-term disability, sorry for that. There was a separate short-term disability carrier and a different LTD, long-term disability carrier. The problem with that is twofold. Number one, there were overlapping elimination periods, which means somebody may be paying for a short-term disability policy that goes 180 days, but the long-term starts at 90 days. That means they're paying for days that they would not get paid on because the contract's all set. We looked at that and we said, hey, we got to eliminate that. We need to aggregate. We need to have a carrier that if I go out on short-term disability, my dad was on long-term disability for 2 years of last years of his life. He went from short-term and went immediately into long-term and transitioned smoothly. If it's two different carriers, it's a whole different process. So we did that and we moved it to Lincoln Financial, which is a national insurance company that does a wonderful job. And we have a rate guarantee until 2025. Because we don't want to change unless we need to. So that's a lot of the difference in the way that we look at different products. We look at products based off of what you want, not what we think. We'll show you all the products, but we want you to tell us what you're looking for. So, full service broker with dedicated account services team. That's us. State-of-the-art spin admin technology. We all use Solaris. We have 25 people that build out on it every day. I have no idea what the other teams have, but I know this. We don't have a lot of issues because we have a great team that builds out. Flexible enrollment solutions, we do the same thing, whether it's on a call center, one-on-one, online, it's whatever y'all want, it's whatever your employees want. Group voluntary benefits portfolio, guarantee issue, reportability, streamlined benefit reconciliation services, huge deal for the payroll staff. Customized employee communications, we'll do whatever you want from a video, booklets, flyers, anything, surveys, we do it. Single point of contact for employees so they know who to call. And then in-house flexible spending and cover administration, we do that in-house. We utilize WEX just like somebody else mentioned over there, but at the same time, we do it in-house. Because I want to be able, if we have an issue, the issue bubbles up here and we fix it. And that's the way we work. Before I finish, and I know you'll have a lot of questions, I'm trying to make sure I cover everything. I think one of the biggest points is this. You are our flagship in Louisiana. Pulaski County was our flagship in Arkansas. We have 75% of the market in Arkansas. This is our flagship. I am here because I love doing business with your parish. I want to stay here. I want to grow our benefits. In Louisiana, I want to control the state of Louisiana so that we can bring in more benefits and lower the pricing and bring better benefits to the employees. That's what I want to do. And you know, the thing about it is this. All of this, everybody's told you what they can do. We're telling you what we've done. But the other part of it is this. Disregard me. I talk too much. I get it. But ultimately, it's not us. I know. I'm with you. And I'm almost done. So, ultimately, are there any concerns with the current TPA? No. These are the questions. These are the responses to the questions submitted to the RFP. Based on how you're working with your current broker TPA, is there any different, better? Would you do anything different? The current Voluntary Benefits Administrative Service TPA is meeting and exceeding the expectations set forth by Lafayette. That means we're doing it right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how effective was last open enrollment? 10. 10. What's your biggest headache with your voluntary benefits administrative services other than my mouth? None. We're exceeding expectations. And what benefits admin platform are you currently using to enroll voluntary and integrated skill? The system is easy to understand, maneuver, and utilize. The system is rated a 10. We can tell you what we do, but let's let your team and your employees tell us what we do. Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions? Anyone? Board members? Okay, we don't see any further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and turn the meeting to Ms. Nancy Mouse.
I will remind you what the ratings were from the 6-member committee, 4 active, 1 retiree, and 1 not LPSS. And somebody correct me if that's not correct. Demographic of that committee. Lofton Companies and Merrill Life Benefits had 648 total points. Club International, Dwight Andrus, AGM had 638 points. Educational Benefits had 633, and the fourth, there were only 4 people who responded, I assume, had 554. I'll need a motion from someone for any one of those 3, or the motion can be to defer to the Board Insurance Committee if you feel like you got the information too late and you feel like you still have questions. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for the 3rd presentation, EBI, to continue providing services for us.
I'll second that.
I second as well. All right.
I would like to make a substitute motion.
Okay. Floor's open.
And I agree, we didn't have enough time to look at this thoroughly. There were 6 people that served, and I looked at the score sheet. 4 out of 6 rated Lofton as first, as well as the total score. And so, based upon whoever served on that committee, I'm sure it was an unbiased committee, then I would like to make a substitute motion that we go with the committee's recommendation, or include the committee recommendation.
Can I make a gesture there? There wasn't a recommendation, there was just scoring done within the committee.
Well, okay, and that's what I meant by the score. And when I looked, and I'm glad y'all provided with the score sheet, it was 4 out of 6, which is a majority of the committee members. And so it's based on that. I'm sure I'm assuming those people have more time to look at the RSPs and evaluate.
Is there a second? For now? Any discussion?
Yeah, what's the problem with the current company? Obviously, there's a problem, or someone thinks there's a problem. If I'm just wondering.
Can I answer that, Ms. Mia?
Please.
Would you mind? Okay. So the reason why we're here this evening is the easiest way I can say it is the contract is ending. EBI has served LPSS for a total of 4 years with 1-year renewable contracts every single year. There's not a problem or concern with the current benefit provider. They have met with our employees, and in my personal opinion, I'll just give my personal opinion, the main issue with the previous voluntary benefit provider was the customer service piece. In all honesty, that's why the board voted to remove the previous voluntary benefits administrator. During the last 4 years, EBI has worked very hard to build relationships with those employees. I agree. You see the same enroller from year to year. It does create a stability for those members. The best way I could state it, could you imagine if we changed providers, let's just use an example, under group health insurance every 4 years? The stability factor with that is super important. It creates, when anyone talks about change, several of the presenters mentioned it this evening, it creates that tension, whether it's either a positive change or a negative change. It creates a tension within us, and it's hard to navigate through. With EBI, there would be some stability with that reasoning. There's just not any current issues. They worked really hard at delivering good customer service, which was our main priority. We didn't want the members to think of themselves as just a number. We wanted there to be connections with the relationships, and I really feel that they've delivered that. I honestly feel that they've delivered good benefits, quality benefits at good pricing. We have a large range of employees from food service to administration, and I feel like they've offered a comparable benefits to a full range of employees.
Can we call for the vote?
Well, I'd like to make a comment. As principal of the school, John can attest to this as well, or maybe he has his own opinion, but it's been seamless each year, having them come, having them go face to face. We set up with our employees, the same person comes back. They've worked to improve pricing for our employees, so I just think that old adage, if it ain't broke, don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So,
The motion on the floor,
so can I make a subsequent motion to the
No.
subsequent motion?
let's vote on the substitute motion.
Yeah.
Unless
Can
there's,
you repeat what the substitute motion was?
the substitute motion, as I appreciate it, was to support the committee's high score, which is Lockton Company's AmeriLife benefits.
And my second was that, I guess when you look at everything that was offered overall and read, everything that was put in the proposal, that if that one was voted, so that's why they're offering it. So obviously, if you can compare. What's that?
They're doing the same thing. Everybody's jumping through the same hoop.
Well, I don't know.
I feel like,
That's okay, that's why we'll vote.
At the school level, we have the experience
Yeah.
for the last 5 years of that seamless operation, which is important, and therefore active employees. The
Motion on
majority
the
of
floor is to discuss American Life benefits Lockton Companies. If there's no other discussion about that, we will vote on that motion.
That relationship happens with just about any provider that we have. Just because this is a new person coming in, possibly that relationship can be developed
No,
just as
but
well.
I know at our school what works.
Yeah, but
Well, I
if it's
understand,
working,
but
if it's working, why are we discussing
The
it?
discussion has to be on the motion that's on the floor.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can discuss all you want to discuss about John's motion when we get to John's motion, if we get to John's motion. The motion on the floor is Katie, second by Burnell, Lockton Company's American Life Benefits, which was the high score for the committee. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion fails. We go to the original motion, John, second by Mia, to continue with educational benefits. Now, all you want to say about educational benefits? Mia?
I already said.
Okay.
I can repeat myself.
No, that's okay.
No?
Don't repeat. Don't repeat. No.
John, anything to say about your motion? Any further discussion? All those in favor of educational benefits? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I have a comment. I think I've been on this committee the longest. I think we need to realize that the things that we do in this committee is very, very important. And the way we get documents doesn't show that it's important. Because we had 120 pages to read with one RFP. We didn't get this till late yesterday afternoon. It shows that it wasn't important to us to be able to peruse the information with enough time. So I'm asking again, I always have these comments. If you're going to give us documents to look over it, give us enough time to be able to do that and come here with some knowledgeable information. That's all I want on the record.
All right, Ms. Morrison, the recommendation from the committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Is educational benefits.
Okay, so we will have a discussion and our action by the Board Insurance Committee, which is us, regarding a recommendation of the RFP-62-23 to the full board. Good motion?
I'd like
Ms.
to make a
Mason?
motion. Okay, I'd like to make the motion to recommend Hub International as the provider.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Mason and a second by Mr. Centani. And so we have to vote on it.
Well, we do have to vote on it, but I'd like to say a couple words.
Mr. Centani?
Sure. I want to tell our three presenters, our three finalists tonight, like, you guys did great. I mean, I don't think there's really a bad choice that any of us can make. What we're talking about here, I think the committee's discussion bore that out, and certainly in my mind, we're talking about differences on the margins and differences in what may or may not be important to each of us. Certainly Dr. Downs and Ms. O'Mara, you guys are in the schools every day and understand how these decisions impact your employees. And we're sitting at the top of the house wondering how we're going to effectively manage this program at a large scale. So all of the points are equally valid. I'll say that I found Hub's technology to be, I think, the better long-term choice, especially what they're able to do with their app and everything. So that is, I'm happy to support this. I think this is a good decision, and I think the minutes and the board agenda item next week will reflect both recommendations. It won't just be ours. It'll be that the Employee Insurance Committee recommended that EBI be retained, and that the Board Insurance Committee, if this motion passes, would recommend Hub International.
Okay, so as Mr. Centeni said, at our next board meeting, we will make a decision, but the full board will make that decision and, discuss our recommendations, so.
Mrs. Centani, if the vote goes that we'll have two recommendations, do they need to be the top two, or the two voted in by the ERIAC and the board? Do they need to be here for make a short 10-minute presentation?
I think everybody would be welcome. Certainly, if you'd like to give your opinion to the board before we vote on it. So I don't think anything official, though. I mean, it would be for public comment if anybody wants to give their opinions.
No, I meant the companies themselves. Do they need to be here for a 10-minute presentation to be able to answer for the board, or make a short presentation?
I think it would be wise for them to be there to answer any questions.
Yeah.
But I don't think Mr. Angel typically wants to have presentations after we go through that in committee.
Not a problem. I just wanted to be prepared to prepare an agenda item.
Did I say I was trying to be kind?
And I agree as well. Ms. Mason, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree.
Okay,
I think it would
so
be
we
wise.
agree with just not having a 10-minute. Okay. All right, thanks.
We
Okay,
don't
is
need
there
public comment on?
Okay,
this?
yeah, we did. Yeah. I voted. You didn't vote. Okay, Ms. King.
Okay.
Okay, so I think all of our votes are in, and without any other business. Yeah, I voted yes too. Any other discussion? If not seeing any, thanks everyone for coming out. Do you have a public comment?
So I disagree with what you all just did. I feel like we just have two representatives who have more experience than the one that you suggested. And our committee, we had a motion for the third presentation, and then you made the motion, the subsequent motion. So it just seemed like it's out of left field, just from my perspective, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks that.
Okay,
No, I respect that. No, I want this, to be a conversation and, in the committee. But I mean, I feel like I showed my cards very early. I asked where people were headquartered. I asked, about employees and that sort of thing. Dwight Andrus has 110 employees in Lafayette Parish. And that is very important to me. And that is why I'm on this school board. I mean, I chose Lafayette Parish to live in the rest of my life, hopefully. And it means a lot to me that a company would put so many of their employees here. That's the children that we're teaching in this parish, their parents are working in this parish, and I feel like the culture here, the understanding that can be gleaned from a company really investing and being here means a lot. So
Presentations for each of our schools, or is it gonna still be the Baton Rouge people? Like, that's my question.
Well, again,
Discussion.
I mean, this still had Ms. Katie.
I would like to say the structure of this insurance committee is to make recommendations to the board. And it is up to the board to
Right.
do the final decisions. And as a insurance committee of the board, then it is your responsibility to make a recommendation to the school board. It doesn't have to go along with what we say. And that's always been, and if you look at our bylaws, that's how this committee is structured. And so, I mean, board members are elected by a lot of people in their districts and representing those districts. So, and you know, I'm not arguing one way or the other, but I think we need to remember what the responsibility of this committee is to make a recommendation to the board. It has always been up to the board to make a final decision.
And you know, just in my short 4 years on the board, I promise you, when these other people show up, they could make a completely different recommendation, just like they've done many times before. So I think it, you know, having 3 different recommendations is going to hold a lot of weight in these other votes that will come in. So
And frankly, like that's the point, right? Like I said, this is all on the margins. There's no clear winner, I think, or it's really just what you prefer. You, Dr. Downs, you prefer the incumbent, and that's fine. You know, what I saw and heard tonight, I think the second choice would have been the better course of action. It may or may not be, I don't know, but that's my personal opinion at this point in time.
Yes, meeting adjourned.